What's up, family? What's going on? Come on in. Come on in. Y'all come on in here. I'm going to give y'all a chance. Y'all hit that like, subscribe button. Come on, family. We're going back to the way we used to do. Them late night lives. Y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Hold on. Yeah, I'm trying to get my camera to... Oh, too close. Too close. Okay. That's what I needed. Okay. So, what's up, family? What's up? What's up? Wait a minute. Right mic. Let me make sure I got the correct mic. I knew it. It never does to my Yeti. I need that to be the default. Okay. Okay. So, y'all ready? It should be better now. I'll take this off. All right, family. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? We're gonna have a good time, y'all. So let's see. I ain't gonna be out here long because I'm gonna hang out with the kiddo for the rest of the night. We was watching YouTube shows today, this evening, and I want to finish watching some stuff with her. So let's see, y'all. What's going on? What's going on? I'm sorry, y'all. Past y'all bedtime. Come on. Y'all got to wake up with me. It's so much going on in this world. We got some talking to do, family. So I'm gonna let y'all get on in here and let's get her started. So everybody is out here. If you're new to the channel, because I've had a couple of people reach out and say they're new, welcome. If you're new, hit 1. If not, don't hit nothing. Oh man. Come on, family. Hello, y'all. Come on in here. Greetings all, greetings all. You got your tea? Sister Net, you got your tea? Knit, Sister Knit, you got your tea? I forgot to make my tea. So I may play a little video and make my second Exodus. You not new. Whatever. Y'all ignore second Exodus. He ain't new. He just being extra. Y'all are something else. Y'all are something else. Let's see. Let's see who we got in here. Who do we have in the house? So, family, we're gonna have a good discussion, y'all. I'm getting back into the swing of doing the news thing. And it's obvious that my brothers want me to go back into it because they'll send me stuff and be like, E, did you see this? And I saw a couple of things on the news today and yesterday that was kind of interesting. And not just saw, and if y'all can't hear me too well, just let me know. And if y'all, and it's not just what I saw on the news, it's something that I have seen in the stores. I've seen the shelves empty. Like if you got your favorite Ruhama brand new, that's funny. If you have some things that you like if you're how we used to say in how would we say it in um marketing class, brand loyal to a brand. When I say a brand, I mean like if you like Charmin, if you like Tyson's chicken tenders. The only reason I'm saying that because it's the only chicken tenders my child would eat. I was making a joke that my daughter, as she got older, she stayed with the brand, but the brand upgraded as she grew. So when she was a toddler, it was the chicken nuggets, Tyson's chicken nuggets. And then when they came out with the animal figure chicken nuggets, she was game for that. So from that phase, from being a kid to now, she's upgraded to the chicken tenders. So she's actually brand loyal. Like that's her thing. She's loyal to her brand, and that's Tyson's. I went about another one, Purdue. She was like, please don't ever buy that again. That's nasty, Mom. I said, I'm sorry. But with that being said, I walked into the store today and yesterday looking for certain things that you would normally find in a store, like Tyson chicken tenders. Like you gonna find it. Let me see. I see they Tyson's chicken tenders. It was another thing we were getting. I would ask Madison and we couldn't find. Oh, so y'all seen that pizza challenge? Like they make the pizza and put it get garlic bread, put marinara sauce with some cheese on top and a whole bunch of other stuff. But you can do that on the garlic bread toast that they have, the little round one in the box. You can used to could find it anywhere, and you put it in the air fryer. Well, we walked in the store, could not find anything. I think the only thing we found was I can't remember, but put it like this: we had to go to 2 stores. We couldn't find the garlic bread. We couldn't find um we couldn't find a lot of stuff. So we had to shop around and we had to go through the grocery stores here in Virginia and DC are either Giants or Safeway or if you're a little bit more bougie and got a little extra money, Wegmans. Um so I had to kind of constantly find stores to get certain things. And notice that the shelves were empty. Couldn't find my sugar-free Gatorade. Couldn't find, and I was like, "What is this?" So, I went to, yeah, we got a Publix too, but it's all the way out. Publix is far from me. And we don't have a Kroger. That is so depressing. We don't have a Kroger here. But we found ourselves searching, and it was almost like a scavenger hunt. And when I tell y'all, I'm talking about the shelves are empty. Um, and Lidl's. I went to Lidl's as well. I think that's how I say it. Empty. empty with certain things. And the number one thing I've noticed that they're empty on is chicken. There ain't that much chicken. So I was like, wow, what is this? Now, the next thing that I noticed, have y'all noticed they've been talking a lot about inflation? Inflation. So we're going to kind of talk through that. I'm going to play some videos dealing with those things, and we'll kind of talk about it, family. And I might just drop that link out here tonight, and y'all can be able to give me y'all's viewpoint. So, I'm gonna... Yep, I had to do a lot of shopping. Wow, they closed some stores in Virginia. Where in Virginia? Because you know I'm in Virginia. That's interesting. So I'm gonna drop the link once I play some videos, and y'all tell me what y'all think. What y'all thinking? So let's see. I took, you know what? Before I get started, I actually took some pictures of a store today that I was at, and I may send it to myself so I can show it to y'all. It was no chicken on the shelf whatsoever, none. So don't go in the store expecting to say, "Oh, I'm gonna cook meatloaf," or whatever you have. Be ready to change your mind, saints, because you might find out that it's not in there. So let's start. Let me see. Let's get it started, y'all. Let's get it crack-a-lacking. I'm already queued up. Let me see. Which one am I gonna go with first? I got too many screens up. All right, here we go. All right, so all right, here we go. I'm gonna hit that play button. Let me mute myself so it's no echo.
Well, if you've been to the grocery store lately, you might notice it's looking a lot like March or April or May of 2020. Brian Sazi, what's going on?
Well, you're seeing a lot of out of stocks, Julian, something I saw in Whole Foods over the past weekend, but it's also something Albertsons CEO Vivek Sankaran is seeing. The company's stock was blasted yesterday on its earnings report, in part, I think, because they're acknowledging some challenges keeping their shelf stocked. Sankaran noting we were expecting that supply issues to get more resolved as we go into this period right now. Omicron has put a bit of a dent on that, so there are more supply challenges, and we would expect more supply challenges over the next 4 to 6 weeks. And it's those fresh items, Julie, milk, eggs, those quick turning items that appear to be tough to get to shelves for whatever reason, or for the most part, because workers are not necessarily in these plants because of the Omicron variant. And I know you went to Trader Joe's and you saw some empty shelves of your own.
I did it Sazi style and took some pictures of those empty shelves, as you are wont to do. That's the bread section, empty almost entirely. A lot of the fresh food sections were empty. You see on the right side of that photo there, a sort of shade that they had pulled down over that section that was empty. So that's some of the fresh food. A lot of the produce was out. I was told at the store it had to do with difficulty in getting stuff from the warehouse, which I guess was in Pennsylvania, in part because of weather. Because in addition to everything else going on, of course, there's been some icy and snowy weather in the Northeast. That's our producer, Pam Granda. She took some similar photos also at a Trader Joe's.
That is a hashtag zombie shells right there. Wow, it's very startling. But again, so many people are dealing with this, Julian. Another company that is dealing with it, it's Conagra. We just talked to their CFO after their earnings report last week. He told us they are seeing absenteeism in their manufacturing plants. Will continue to be a problem for a few weeks.
We have seen a spike with Omicron very recently, but I'm going to pivot back to when COVID really started in March of 2020. We've been in a mode as an organization and as a supply chain organization of managing disruptions in our labor force going back that long. And so literally every day that we come in, we have a call with the entire supply chain. where we look at, where across all of our manufacturing plants, what's the absenteeism, whether somebody caught COVID or they're being quarantined, and how are we going to mobilize around, running our production lines. And so that's actually become kind of normal course for us.
And reading these stories, Julie, you take a step back and think, well, why is this happening? The reality is we're all still working from home, and this has been going for years. And now in many cases, it's picking up if you are one to be infected with the Omicron variant or Delta or just COVID more broadly. And that is leading to just more sustained sales of at-home stuff. And look at this chart from Axios, just showing hair care product demand using Google searches. You can see just this sustained high level in products, daily use products, as we all continue to be at home. You can see that demand, Julie, has settled in just at a higher level than pre-pandemic levels. It has declined a little bit, but you can see it pick back up right now during the Omicron variant surge across the country, but again, at a higher level than pre-pandemic.
Yeah, put that together with a lot of people being sick, whether it be drivers, people working at stores, people stocking the shelves, people making the stuff. And you have a recipe for those zombie shelves, as you call them. So we'll keep an eye on this phenomenon. Thanks, Saz.
Yeah, I'm telling y'all, this is interesting. This is very interesting. So let me show y'all what I saw today. I had to drive all over Virginia just to go to the grocery store today. And I was like, I'm over it. So we ended up eating whatever we could find in the freezer. Actually, I ended up buying what I didn't want to buy, but I had no choice. I wanted to make some air fryer wings. And I was like, I'm gonna make some air fryer wings. And I don't know why I decided to wait late, but I was at work. So I was like, I'm gonna go buy some wings. And yeah, not a wing in sight. Not one wing in sight. Let me see. Let me find the picture. Let me find my picture. 1 second, y'all. I should have had it queued up. Hold on, y'all. Here we go. I found my picture. Let me see if I can show it. Hold on. Can y'all see my screen? That's what I saw today. That's what I saw. Normally, there would be chicken galore over there. And I didn't see anything. Can y'all see my screen? Hit 1 for yes. Okay, y'all can see it. Man. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Man. And this is a picture I took. I just want some hot wings. That's all I wanted to make was me some hot wings. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to make me some air fry wings. Y'all know I am a air fry wing queen and could not find a chicken tender. I mean, no chicken. I mean, not chicken tender, but no chicken wings in sight, family. And I was like, y'all know me. Y'all know that I'm the one that's going to be the last person in the room that says, oh, everything coming to an end. Y'all know I am the last person. Y'all know I'm going to wait and just be like, let me check. Y'all know me. When I get concerned, I'm going to be honest. When I get concerned, it's a moment to be concerned because it takes a lot for me to just be like, but yeah, I'm like, wow, this is where we are, family. This is where, but it gets even more interesting. I'm gonna show y'all another video. Let y'all see what's going on. Let me see. Another good thing that's going on. Well, not necessarily a good thing. So here we go. Inflation, that report today that revealed something most of us already know all too well. The cost of everything is up. Inflation has surged to levels we haven't seen in 4 decades. The consumer price index increased by 0.5 percentage point in December. That's a 7% increase from the same time last year, the largest 12-month increase since 1982. President Biden says the report does reveal some promising news for the nation's economic recovery as the global community emerges from what he calls the pandemic economic slump. We are now joined by Weijia Jiang and Scott MacFarlane. Weijia is a CBS News senior White House correspondent. Scott MacFarlane is the CBS News congressional correspondent. Weijia, thank you for joining us. I want to start with you. The Biden administration responding to these latest inflation numbers is saying what?
Drake, it's so great to see you. And today we did hear from President Biden in a paper statement. And basically, he said that there were some bits of good news, that the overall headline showed that inflation was decreasing, that the prices of food and gas was as well. He did say it is clear, though, that it is more, that there is more work to be done. The question, though, is what that work looks like, since the administration has already taken a series of steps over the past several months to try to curb these prices, to try to meet the demand by getting the supply going again. So we haven't heard from him directly in any formal remarks about a plan to do more. He also mentioned that this is a global problem, and that is why he put such an emphasis on linking the inflation numbers as well as the overall economy with the pandemic. And so the hope is that once Omicron is under control, not only here, but around the world, that this will help ease some of that demand and help to get things moving again in terms of manufacturing, which would then bring the prices down. But you're right, Eureka, in terms of every day, it's hard on people trying to make ends meet. And the president acknowledges that. He says he understands that, and he is committed to doing more.
And Scott, it's worth mentioning again that this is the fastest single rise in inflation in nearly 4 decades. These are so much more than just numbers. How is it actually impacting the average American family? Break that down for us.
You know, Jerika, it's emptying people's wallets as store shelves at grocery stores are emptying as well. And perhaps the most volatile cost is food right now. It's also perhaps the most visceral cost. People have an intimate familiarity with what it should cost at the grocery store for milk, for meat, for cereal. Those prices are going up. And in some cases, at so many stores, those supplies are going down. Now, we've seen the research being done on the grocery store issue, that a lot of this is being driven by worker shortages, especially truck driver shortages. The trucking industry says it's down 80,000 employees from where they should be. That's slowing delivery of products to the store shelves. But the grocery industry says it's also short on employees. A survey by the association representing grocers says 80% of grocery stores in America report some trouble either finding or retaining workers. And those worker shortages are infusing the shortage of supplies. But here's what's clear. This will be a political issue moving forward for the Congress. The system failures, the supply chain failures could infuse the arguments for the Build Back Better infrastructure plan. But there will be Republicans who say more spending, more federal spending could fire up inflation further.
Absolutely. And it always comes down to what people can tangibly feel when they go to vote for their next congressman, next president, or whomever. The Biden administration has attempted to lower the inflation rate through 2021. Weijia, what steps is the administration planning to take to combat the rising costs of these goods?
Well, we don't know exactly yet because they've been so focused on the steps that they've already taken. For example, working with ports, especially out west, to make sure that those huge containers that were just sitting there were moving again. They have worked with the trucking industry to try to make the job more appealing for people, to try to get more young people on board to do the work that is required to, move goods around. So we have to wait to see if they have more to announce, whether they have more steps, because I know that in just a little bit, when we hear from White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, she will talk about all the things that they have already done. She will likely make the claim again that this is transitory, that there is good news in this report, even though there's still some more pain to go through. In the long run, this will be good. But I think one thing that's really important and really telling, Jerika, is that today President Biden did not mention his Build Back Better plan when he released a statement about inflation, where for months and months, even the last time he talked about inflation, he pointed to that program as being critical to ease people's concerns and to make sure that they have what they need moving forward to be able to pay rent, to be able to get their kids in school and afford childcare. But what we saw was that backfire a little bit from not only Republicans, but from Democrats in his own party who said, wait a minute, look at inflation. They were worried about how that huge piece of legislation could impact it even more. So now we're seeing that he did not bring that up this time around.
And it makes me wonder what's next in terms of promoting that spending bill, which is still waiting to see what happens. Scott, on top of the high cost of inflation.
Okay, y'all, I wanted to pause right there. I'm going to pause right there and let me show my face. Oh, I don't want to show it like that. Okay, so pay attention. It says energy, fair use, also fair use. Energy is going up 29%. That means any electricity, your electricity bill is going up. Most likely, an average is going up to that. Gasoline, 49%, almost 50%. So that means by the summer, gas gonna be almost like probably $4 or $5. Food is going up like 6%. I feel that and I see it. New cars are going up 11%. Used cars and trucks are going up. So used cars and trucks are going up even more than new cars, and apparel or clothes, which, you know what, at this point in life, I'm like, look, if clothes are going up, that's fine. That ain't my top priority. But when you look at it, the essentials of living, which is on this, can y'all see my little, okay, on this side, which is on the left side, which is the energy, gasoline, and food, is hiking up. I feel it at the pump. I really do. I really do. So let me continue on.
Inflation. What would hiking interest rates do for American consumers, and how is this expected to possibly help the U.S. economy overall?
Well, interest rates being where they've been for almost a decade now has impacted people's savings. It's impacted people's investments. A change in interest rates will certainly change those investments and potentially change those savings. But at a political level, Jerika, when it comes to inflation, what some consumers will tell you, what some experts will tell you, is that it's not the extra cost for the item that can really hit somebody. It's the sacrifice they have to make, the thing they don't buy to afford that item. And politically, that can be kryptonite for office holders when they have constituents who are foregoing purchases because the gas costs more, the food costs more, the car costs more. Changes in interest rates could impact this overall and could be a political solution for office holders.
All right, Weija and Scott, thank you so much.
So y'all notice something. There are things that are happening that we are oblivious of, the people are oblivious of. And I'm gonna tell you something. I love the phrase or the analogy of when they put a frog in water. If you just make the water hot, all of a sudden you throw him in there, he's gonna hop right out the pot. But if you put a frog in a pot and turn the heat up and it gradually boils, the frog won't move. And by the time it gets hot, he's dead. That's what it is right now. Everything ain't gonna pop off all of a sudden. It's gonna be gradual. And before you know it, bam, everything has changed. One of the things I noticed with this new on my crayon, and I'm saying this is a Lisa Cabrera phrase, but I'm using it. This on my crayon, they're having problems, and I'm gonna show the video. Doing any test for Amarion. The problem with that is people are unable to go to work because they're requiring for them to test if they're positive or they're negative, and it's a test shortage. It's a shortage on even tests. I was I had to get, my daughter has to get her test done for school, but she can't right now because there are no appointments available. So they said another reason. I was talking to Black Tastic about this. Another reason, he read an article, and I should have brought it. That some of the impact is people are sick and they can't come to work, or they need to get tested, but they can't because there's no test available. They're running out. So it's like this is getting more and more interesting. And what's so interesting is Oh My Crayon, or Veto, and that's what I'm gonna call it. Veto itself, I ain't gonna say the other word, but Veto is constantly changing. Veto is changing consistently. Today is one version of it, the next day it's another version. So while Veto is changing, and now it's called Oh My Crayon. That's a shame I gotta talk in code. Now we got Oh My Crayon, but we got another one that's sitting and lingering. Have y'all heard about the variant in France? Let me see. Fair use. I don't know if I should show this, because they've been real finicky about us showing stuff. Well, I'll take it like this, because they real finicky about folks talking about Amarion and all that. There's a whole new variant in France, y'all. They said that is just as contagious as Omicron. It's just as. And I saw this last week, and when I read it, I was like, wow. So I mean, hey, things are happening. Yep. HU, that's what I'm gonna call it, just HU. I think I'm talking about a college. Yep. It is that big red. That's what they call it. So I mean, it's getting more and more and more interesting. This is why you're seeing instances, hey, Rohan, you're seeing situations where people are not going to work because they're sick, or they're quitting. They're quitting because they don't want to get, they don't want to get, what? I'm just gonna say lollipopped. Which is their right. They can pick whatever they can make. People should be able to make a decision on what they want to do. Or people are just, I mean, it's just, this is a different era. People don't want to do certain things because of this. This one disease has changed the whole game for everybody. So it's very interesting. Like I said, I see this as being a slow cooker. This will not be just all of a sudden all hell break loose. And I'm just gonna say it like that. It's gonna be gradually things are going to start changing, and before you know it, you're going to be oblivious of it because it's not in your face. But by the time it does get to the point that it's in your face, it's already out of whack, and there's no way to escape it. So I think we're going to start seeing this thing right here change constantly change. One of my biggest concerns is the fact of they're trying to make people go back to work, trying to make people go back to school, trying to make people go back to business as usual. And it's not working for them. It's not. People are getting sick. I know a couple of people. This is the first time now. The first one, Cavito, I'm giving it all types of names. When Cavito first came out, I didn't know anybody that really had it. I knew a few people, but I just didn't know a lot of people. Oh My Crayon, I know a bunch of people with this. And so it's just as contagious. Now, what the next winter, if we even make it to that, I'm just joking, but yeah. The next one, no telling what's gonna come out. And that's what I'm looking. I'm like, y'all, this Cavito ain't going nowhere. Cavito ain't going nowhere. Cavito gonna be here for forever. But Cavito is constantly morphing and changing constantly. And every time they think that they have a handle on it, Miss Cavito changes. And when she changes, honey, they can't fix it. They can't come back from it. They got to find a new one, something else to kill it. It ain't going nowhere. This particular the form of pestilence is going to be here for good. That's the best way to say it. So, forever. That's how I feel right now. So with that being said, anybody's welcome to come up if they want. Let me see. Let me share the link. Because Miss Cavita ain't going nowhere. That's her new name, Miss Cavita. Miss Cavita is here for good. For good. And she constantly changes. She creates more and more cousins that's wreaking havoc. I mean, cause man, on my crayon is shutting stuff down left and right. On my crayon is shutting. I'm talking about. And have y'all heard that that your quarantine day used to be 14? Now it's 5. So people won't know that they are completely good, but they still have to go to work. I know a lot of companies are doing it now. They trying to get you back. They're trying to get bodies back into work. So to the point they don't care if you got it or not. Have you seen the bus driver in New York that said that she was told that she had to go to work regardless if she not her but her peers had to go to work regardless if they had Kavita or not. And ultimately people will start getting sick because of it. I mean, it's interesting. Miss Kavita is not going anywhere. I don't care what they do. Kavita is here to stay. So what's going on with you, Aerospike?
Shalom, sister. How's everybody doing? Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, those pictures that you took, I actually have those same pictures. Um, from there's a store called Myers out our way that I went and actually I was talking to Brother Red. This is about a couple months ago. I actually showed him video and showed that where like the lunch meat and everything stuff was just black. It was empty. There
Yep.
was there was nothing there,
Keep talking.
and it was like okay.
Aerospike, keep talking. I'm finna make my tea real quick. I'm listening though.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's becoming commonplace. Um, Pam went to a place today just to get like some bottled water. What we get, stores were empty for this like distilled water. It was empty. So yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of these shortages, and I really don't believe. Again, they say like, oh, this is simply a labor shortage. Nah, I don't believe that whatsoever. Um, I say those at the top, they don't seem to be having any problems getting what they need for food and so forth, but those on the bottom do. We seem to be the ones having that struggle, but they are not. So I believe what's happening right now is artificial. It's not necessarily due to the to Uncle Vito and them floating around in the air.
Well, I don't think I think it's actually something that actually is going on because these truck drivers. I just saw somebody say that they nephew is a truck driver and they're not releasing the product. So
Hmm. Yeah.
we should.
Then go
Yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
no, I said that's interesting.
Yep. So I think said we are going to be seeing a lot of stuff. That's why again with some people were saying like stock up. Yeah, that's a good idea to stock up. I'm not saying you know run the sky is falling. I'm not saying that,
Uh-huh.
but just right. But just let's say it's more of just simply be aware and be content with more simple things because a lot of things you said, what you things you were looking for, we may not find that much that at all anymore again. Because I did hear something on the news talk about it was going to be a shortage of chicken. This past November, there was it said a shortage of actual turkeys. When I went to the store, there's a particular brand of turkey breast I like to get because it's already pre-sliced. Back in some time, I was finding them with no problem, but come later on, they were nowhere to be found. Only thing they had was ham. That was it. So nothing but pork to be found, as far as the eye can see, but not something that that we as Israelites are should eat, I should say.
Yeah,
So.
that's funny. I did see a lot of pork
Hmm.
today, but far as the chicken, I saw a lot of pork and a lot of beef. I didn't see, and a lot. So weird thing is, someone said something that I saw as well. Someone said in the chat that they saw a lot of salmon. I saw a lot of salmon too as well.
Yeah, I mean, I said that's what I've been basically picking up a lot of. It's like there's like this fresh smoked salmon that they have. I try to get those, but it's also very expensive. It's not cheap, and it's not like super big pieces. But yeah, but that's what's there. Sometimes the bread areas, like you show, who's also empty, or either completely empty or very, very sparse with what they have. In other words, a lot of the the food product, hey, notice that it's gotten smaller, but the price has gone up.
Correct. Correct.
Paper towels that we get, I looked at it, that the diameter has definitely shrunk, but the price was still high.
Man, what's going on, Big Red? What's going on, Yakoba? What's going
Hey,
on,
Sister
y'all?
E. What's up, Earl Spike, Big Red?
Hey, shalom, brothers.
How's it
So
going? How's it going?
what's y'all's thoughts on this?
So, to me, everything goes back to prophecy. That's all I see. And it's amazing to me people can't see what most of us see. And I'll read this right quick. Revelation 6:5-7. When the Lamb opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come." I looked, and there before me was a black horse. His rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the four living creatures saying, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wage, 6 pounds of barley for a day's wage, and do not damage the oil and wine. When the Lamb opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the four living creatures say, "Come." So, I mean, once again, is prophecy, being fulfilled.
It's looking like it. I mean, I have to
A-
admit, it's looking a lot like it.
Absolutely, I agree. I put a link in the private chat, Sister E, talking about those trucks because I agree with Calvin. This is why I don't like the mainstream media because all they do is lie. This is why I stay on Twitter, because you actually find like independent journalists and people that put up videos that just tell you the truth. Like they've been lying and saying that there's no truckers and truckers aren't around. I know about 2 or 3 Hebrew women down here that just recently started shipping businesses just to get trucks on the road to try to help push this stuff out, because DeSantis, wanted to reroute some of the stuff down here to Florida. So there's people not only learning to drive trucks. I see so many road masters on the road right now, but all these people learning to get CDLs. Like people see that there's a need and they out there trying to fill the need. But the problem is it's all manufactured. This is all
Yep.
manufactured. This isn't an accident. This wasn't just caused by Oh My Crayon. By the way, I love that. That's hilarious.
Yes.
I love that. It's not, it ain't just Mr. Crayon and all that. They did this by design. All of this was by design. When you really look into that Evergreen ship and how it crashed in the canal, and start basically tracking and following the money on who owned the ship and what goes on, you start seeing some real nefarious crap going on in the background. Like these folks been planning this stuff, man. And then again, only thing left is port. Come on now. They said
Yeah,
you can't even have
exactly
no
right. Let me
Yardbird.
get to. So, I mean, no, you can't. Except walking around, it's like, okay, I'm just looking for some turkey. I'm just looking for, and what do we got? Ham. We got Porky Pig all over the joint,
Oh
but
yeah.
no foghorn, but Porky Pig.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Plenty of oink around. I was like, it was a whole shelf full of it. Um, It was I was like, all these poor girls, like, I just want some chicken wings. That's all I wanted. Chicken wings. I said, I can't even get a. And you know what's so interesting is actually, Jacoba gave me the idea of the show, and I was walking out of the door when he said, "So Steve, why don't you talk about?" Because I was talking about doing something tonight, and I was like, okay. So I was looking at some stuff online, and I said, well, I'm getting ready to go to the store now. And I kid y'all not, when I walk into Lidl's today, it was nothing far as any chicken on the shelf. The milk, it wasn't a lot of milk. Egg shortage. They had a little bread, but they had a whole bunch of pork and a whole bunch of beef.
Yeah, that's definitely beef. I did see beef, but again, if for those of us who don't sit there and eat, cow every day, so it can be, it can be a bit of a difficult um, way to go. I mean, there are people like I said who, like I said, I'm partially plant based in my diet. Ham is completely plant based in her diet. So if beef disappeared for us, we wouldn't really care. But for those who, who really like it, yeah, they can, they can get some, but there are also times when there's no beef either, or it's become very, very expensive.
Yeah, man, it's getting it's been like this for a while. Like it's interesting because I I used to tell people all the time, even before I woke up, I knew America was due for like another crash, a financial crash. But I was just expecting like the housing market and stuff to go down again. This right here went beyond even what I saw. I was like, what the heck? I mean, it happened fast too. Like I knew with the thing with the evergreen and the shortage on the stocks, eventually it would like start hitting in on us. But man, they accelerated this mess like big time. They want everybody to know coming in 2022, you finna eat the bugs and eat the fake meat because they already serving fake meat nuggets at KFC.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
come in like little squares.
And if you want to go back to normal, you're gonna have to have your passport with your little mark on your right hand and forehead.
That's right.
That man, say it again.
They already talking about apps to help track your. They even said that when I had took my COVID test. They're like, "Oh, if you have an app, it'll be better to track you." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I don't need y'all app. I'm straight."
Yep, and take this QR code while you're at it.
Right.
Exactly, and that's what they're already doing in other countries. Israel has it; they have a passport that they have it on their phones. China's doing it, and I think in countries in like Europe are starting to adopt it as well.
Well, also, New York has the app on their phone. Like in New York, they use the app and not the card. So I know New Yorkers do. So it's already here where they're using apps to prove that you are or you're not. So it's interesting. It's really interesting to see what's going on. Because even with that, you see also, and it's the telltale sign I knew something was going on. The indicator was all these jobs that are available. People are literally quitting. They ain't getting fired. They're quitting because they saying they're not coming into work. They're not coming into work because it's not a safe environment. And then they shorten the what is it, the quarantine from 14 to 5 days. It's like I said, are y'all trying to purposely get people sick?
Nah,
It's
it
like,
ain't even really that too. It's also they realizing these jobs are garbage. A lot of people that stayed home, they
oh
found out,
yeah,
man, this is nice.
oh yeah, they real.
They found out that going in to work for a little $14 an hour while dealing with people yelling at you and possibly getting sick, man.
But they also don't realize it's the domino effect of those mandates. Because a lot of people who will be helping in the hospitals and all this thing, they're not there anymore, and so all this stuff starts to cascade. And I heard that, what is it? Is it in a few weeks or February? I can't remember, but the truckers coming in from Canada, they're gonna have to be fully,
Yep.
lollipopped up, and if they're not, they can't come in. So they're purposefully making it worse, just like what's happening with Russia
Hmm.
and NATO, right? I mean, we wouldn't have all this trouble with Russia if NATO wasn't on a doorstep. So they're creating all the chaos because they want us to uh, be a part of the Great Reset.
Yeah, and it's gonna be another war, I think, y'all. The way
Hmm.
things are looking, we about to go straight into World War III.
Jeremiah 50:51.
If Russia and the Ukraine get into it, the U.S. is most definitely gonna get involved, and that's gonna be. And the thing is about Russia, unlike Korea, Russia, man, you dealing with a gangster. Putin is a gangster.
So, Sister E, once we go to World War III,
Straight up.
I guess all the people over there on Berean TV gonna still say there's no 400-year prophecy.
That's it. They're gonna be like, there's no such thing as a 400-year prophecy. And you just be like, the sky's falling, y'all. It is actually falling now. It's actually falling. I ain't been up there in a while, but I'm not going up there. But I'm like, y'all notice the sky's falling. Oh, everything is fine. That's just you.
That's normal.
Why y'all preaching all this skin doctrine? What does this have to do with anything? It's just coincidences. Stick to the gospel.
Yeah.
And what they'll go back and say, oh, we've been to war before. This ain't nothing new.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
Look, what's that mushroom cloud over there? Oh, don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that. Happened before. That ain't no sign. Y'all keep on.
them's fireworks.
Climate change. This is climate change. You need to get new carbon shoes.
Man, and speaking of climate change, I was telling someone this. I said, this is going to be a cold winter. This is the coldest. I've heard this is considered to be the roughest winter that most people have seen in decades. And it's like, have y'all noticed that the weather is like decade breaking? It's like record breaking weather throughout the year.
That's not the draw you're looking for, Sister E.
What?
All of that climate change. Don't worry about that. Just keep preaching the gospel.
That's it. No, don't warn the people. Ain't nothing going on. Y'all making too much problems. We didn't have bad weather before.
Yeah.
Man, I'm from Florida.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I remember
it gets cold down here now. I was shocked. It was like in the 50s a couple of days ago. I'm like, wait a minute. Now Florida don't really get cold till February, but it's been getting mad cold lately, early, which is weird.
Man, it could be aliens that land a ship. They'll be talking about that's normal. It was aliens that came 20 years ago. I'm telling you, I'm so sick of them. I'm like, y'all are the most sleep. Y'all entire head is in the sand. Like it ain't there. Man, look, the Hebrews already like, look, whatever happens, we got to be prepared. But I really
know what's
believe
gonna happen.
What's
They're
going
gonna be like knocking on them Israelite doors. Say y'all, I know y'all been preparing for what's coming. Do you have a loaf of bread I can borrow?
Man,
say no, go.
no.
Say no, go ahead. Continue doing your show.
Continue.
Right. I remember when it comes to the whole climate change thing, it said, people say, oh, you're a climate change denier. I'm like, no, I believe that Earth has cycles like anything else. I have a friend who's a meteorologist, and he actually told me, actually him and the guy who's a geologist, they actually told me that it was, these different, this is going back about several years, they were saying that scientists basically have been told that if you don't toe the line when it comes to the narrative of climate change, you can pretty much kiss your funding and basically any kind of research you want to do, you can say goodbye. Yep. You had to toe the line with it, even though you don't agree with it. I said my friend to say who's a meteorologist, like, yes, Earth has cycles. Yep. Back and say I'm gonna age myself, but I'm gonna go way back in the day, about 40 years. There was a show called In Search Of that was hosted by Leonard Nimoy. This was probably around 1978 or so, and they talked about the coming ice age. Because temperatures have been so low for like 10 years, they will actually think that the Earth was actually going to freeze instead of fry. And it's only been 40 years. So the point being, when people say, oh, it's the carbon footprint, I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with it. Earth has cycles like anything else. So this whole narrative trying to push to get people to, pay for carbon tax, all this stuff is complete nonsense.
Yeah. Also, have y'all heard about, and I don't want to switch the subject, but hey, we talking about all the signs in the sky. Let's go to the next thing. China's fake sun.
Oh, the fusion generator.
The fusion, yeah, man.
Say, Red, I think they went and got that ancient tech.
Man, China dibbling and dabbling in it hard. I think, what was it, a couple months ago they had nanobots, Aerospike. They were
Yeah.
put out. They made nanobots that can go. They call them nanobots. They don't want to say nano machines, but that's what they are. They're nano machines, and they were able to influence the growth of a cell with nano machines.
Yep. And they got those hypersonic missiles now too. I'm like, come on, us. And China is also implementing the passports and the whole mark of the beast type situation. I'm like,
social currency.
Yeah,
China lock you in your house.
Yeah, exactly.
They lock you in your house. On my Twitter, I shared it. They have a video of them. The people only can eat by lowering buckets over the side of their window for the people that come and bring them food. So they be stuck up there. You literally have people yelling, "When are y'all gonna feed us? When are y'all gonna feed us?" And they come around every now and then, and they have to put buckets down and lower them so they'll fill the buckets and then they can pull it up.
Is that the quarantine camps, the towns that are quarantined?
Yeah, on a certain, if they find one case, then they lock the whole town down, and then that's what they start doing.
Yeah, it's bad. They want to do that here. The only thing that stopped them from doing it here is our Second Amendment right. That's it.
Mr. AK and 47.
Get to Blakey.
Y'all are something else. I'm telling y'all. So quick question. So I had to get my tea. I'm back. I'm taking some medicine for this cough. So what do y'all think finna happen with this war? Between because the one thing I will say, going back to the original point with Putin is Putin, I hope I'm saying that right, is a gangster. I really believe that if he say he's gonna do something, he gonna do it.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
The dude don't do he doesn't do threats. He just simply follows through. And like I said, the dude's a straight thug.
Oh,
I mean thug, son of J for thug.
But here's the problem. The U.S. come in there and they say, we understand you run this block, but we taking over this block, and what you gonna do about it? Say, well, I thought we had an agreement that you wasn't gonna come on my territory. Well, that agreement has changed. So now we're gonna put some of our men in Ukraine and Kazakhstan and Poland and surround your tail, and that thug supposed to sit there and take it. I don't think so.
No, Putin ain't finna. That's why I'm like, y'all leave Putin alone. Go back and mess with the Korean guy. He ain't for real. He ain't serious. Leave him, but Putin, leave him alone.
They don't understand that this man is ex-KGB.
Correct.
KGB was one of the most ridiculously gangster letter boys that was out there. There's a reason why KGB cats was poached by other nations. Like, the KGB was no joke. They still no joke. Like, they really don't know what they doing. Like, they over there playing all these little games. They know what they doing, but they playing games and stuff with all this nonsense, which again, I feel like it's all manufactured. But
I agree.
This is it's all manufactured, because why in the world would they be causing nonsense with this dude? Like, I showed the recruitment videos. You see China's video, you see Russia's video. I'm like, what the heck? And then they come with the American video talking about Emma and her two moms.
Yeah. But here's the thing: we all know a real thug when we see one, and Putin don't play. He a real thug. And but I think the thing is, like Big Red said, it's all manufactured, right, to bring us into a end result of the Great Reset. I mean, these people are literally going to tear down the house. They're going to tear the house down and its foundation, and they're going to say, "You want something now? Come over here and take your lollipop and join the Great Reset. And we're going to get rid of all your debt while you're at it. And also, while you're at it, you got to deny the Most High while you're at it. But come on over here and we'll take care of you. We know there ain't no more food, no clean water, because everything radioactive and all that stuff. That's what they want."
And you know what? What my biggest thing is this: I really believe, and this is just what I think, if we were to go to war, Ain't nobody gonna want to go to war. We're dealing with a whole new generation of kids.
Yep.
It's like, I'm not here for it. These kids are not made for war. These kids are cushy and chill.
They got two moms now.
Yeah.
I got a niece that's in the army right now, and I'm looking at her. You know, she basically 100 pounds soaking wet. And I'm like, they want to send her against Ivan that they got in these doggone videos. Come on, man.
I know.
And that's my biggest concern, that because our kids are not going to enlist, guess what's going to happen? Draft.
Yep, conscript.
And the biggest concern is all these women, and I'm not saying anything against your cousin, Big Red, but all these women that want to enlist. Guess what? I really believe that, because they just recently was in court about this, pulling women into the draft.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I totally agree. I told my wife that when I seen it. I was like, I'm sorry, but if I'm in the Army and that's the person that's behind me, I'm not gonna feel well, because I need to know that if I get shot and I can't walk, you can help me to move away and get away. Or if if I'm out there with Aerospike and he get hit in the leg, I got enough strength to drag him to cover and safety. This girl can't do that. There's just some things that women is not built for and that men are built for, and there's some things that women are better built for that men aren't built for, and they trying to deny the basic things that makes us who we are. Like literally, women did not go to war in no country. And when they had the Onabusha, which were female warriors in Japan, but they were only sent as a last minute resort. Like the castle is raided and we got to just go to war, and here it is. Like they didn't throw women on the front lines.
Yep. But Israel sends their women. I think, don't Israel send their women to war, or they become soldiers? I think they do.
I think so. And I know some of the ancient, I read about some of the ancient Celts did. They also said like that, and some of the Norsemen, they actually literally had some of their women, fight. But again, they were completely different culture than what we are. Because like the Most High made it very clear that women were not supposed to go to war. And correct me if I'm wrong about that.
The Vikings also slapped mushrooms and went to go fight.
Let's not forget that the homie women, they fought too, right?
Well, that's correct. That's correct.
Oh yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing. Jeremiah 50 verse 37 says, "And a sword is upon their horses, upon their chariots, and upon their mingled people that are in the midst of her, and they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. A drought is upon her waters." I mean, we still got the drought on the waters. We can see where these guys are gonna be like women because they soft, right? They're not like the old military of old, and now they got all kind of people with pronoun issues.
Yeah.
Where that's what this whole pronoun and all this, we got to be careful, because there is no dividing line anymore. It's starting to all blend together.
Right.
And it's
that just no, that's on point, because that goes with a lot of those old deities from like the Roman deities, and even goes all the way back to Sumerian. A lot of the deities had dual functions. They had a male and a female counterpart, and they were referred to in gender neutral terms. They basically going back to how they started, into this man woman weird blend of stuff. Like they basically have this new thing now. Well, it's not new, they've been trying to push it, but now it's getting more of a push where they put X after stuff to, I guess, identify for non-binary people or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
So they say like Latin X, which all the people I know that are Latin hate it, but they call them Latin X. And yeah.
Let me tell y'all something. For some of y'all that's probably now just looking out there in different places like Indeed, LinkedIn, all these different places for jobs, be prepared, because there's going to be a section and you're going to run across at least one that's going to have a list telling you, what do you consider yourself to be? And you're just like, I don't even understand any of these terms. What's the one they call it? Cis.
Yeah.
All these different. And I'm like, I just want.
Where's male and female?
I'm like,
that's what I was looking for.
I'm like, somebody said, well, Sister E is strong. I'll fight. What fight with her? Sister E ain't that strong. Sister E clumsy. She gonna drop a gun.
Oh,
are you the lady of rage? No, no, you got our back.
You talking about somebody yesterday that fell on the stoop and don't know how I fell, but I fell. I can't tell you why. I just know I stepped down and I stepped down wrong, and my ankle just said whoop. I mean, I ended up being fine, but yeah. But the cis and all that, so it's like you can't figure out. I'm like, cis this, cis male, cis this. I was like, I'm confused. I just want to leave it blank. I had to go online and look it up because I was like, I don't want to pick the wrong thing and then I walk in the door and they expect for me to be one way, and I'm like, that's not what I am. And see, I think people do that too, because I'm gonna be honest. I think the alphabet community, they get more access to these jobs. So they want to know, because I even had one ask me, am I a part of, they ask you the little questionnaire after you get done, loading the resume or whatnot. Ask you, are you a part of the alphabet community? And I can't say it because I'm going to mess it up. And I'm like, what does it have to do with my work?
Right.
Because you get to help them fill a checkbox. So that way they can say, we are a diverse workplace, and put your picture on the website so they can be like, look, we have a black woman here. Look. Don't matter what your skills are. That's why you got so much garbage movies coming out now. Because they're like, oh, well, we're going to get a woman of color to do this and a man of color or whatever. But they get these no talent morons that can't write, but they fit their little box. So they can bring them in because they easily controlled, and they make all this crazy nonsense. But yet they don't, like, literally, there's tons of black directors out there, black writers who for years been doing all kinds of stuff underground. They don't promote them. Like, I know a dude right now, Anthony Piper. He's amazing with the pen. And he don't get no TV shows. As a matter of fact, Adult Swim denied his TV show. I bet if he take it back to him now, he'll be like, oh, yeah, black male, we'll take it.
Man. Well, we know this thing is ever changing. And I'm just, like I said, I'm looking at this war. And I'm like, it look like it's about to pop off. Because they got the right, I'm like, then not to mention our president, I'm like, is he on life support before he comes out? Did they put an IV in his arm before he come out and speak?
Did y'all see that he said, let's go Brandon himself?
No.
Yes. So he was interviewing this guy. I guess this guy did something and he won an interview with the president. So him and his wife were talking to the dude over the phone. And at the end of the interview, he said, yeah, it was great talking to you. And let's go, Brandon. And this dude said, oh, yes, I agree. Let's go, Brandon.
Are you serious? Oh, I'm scared. This is a scary time. That's all I got to say. Look, every time I watch him, I just be like, oh.
We in idiocracy. For real.
Did you see the G4 summit the G7 last year where he got lost and went to the wrong cafe? His wife had to come and grab him and pull him back.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
I'm gonna be honest, he looks like he doesn't want to be up there. I think he's just up there just to have him up there. He want to be somewhere sitting in a nice chair chilling somewhere. They to make this dude come back to work when he's supposed to be retired. So he don't want to be up there. I'm like, bless his heart. I definitely don't want Camilla president. That's scary.
No, we don't.
But if I had my choice between Hillary and Camilla, I would go Camilla because Hillary is interesting as well. She'll be ready. She ready to go to war. She don't care. She like, let's go for it.
Camilla works. They all in on it. It don't matter who it is. You don't get to those positions of power without being under the control of them. So there's no difference in none of them because they all work for they all pockets come from the same place. So it's just a different face, but the same master. Because behind the scenes, you don't see the real power source that's running everything. That's why the Masons have that hidden hand gesture. Because you don't understand the hidden hand of power. When you're hidden and you don't know who's doing it, then it's easy. But when you follow the money and see that all of them getting funded from the same places and these same little sources and stuff, it's like what Aerospike said. These companies be out here sending people money and they do it for the turnaround. Like, give an example, Bush Jr., when he ran back in the day, Visa and MasterCard and all them super supported him in his campaign. When he got president, the first thing he did before he can even sit in the seat proper was write legislation to make it so that if you do bankruptcy, you still got to pay your debts. The bankruptcy no longer got rid of all your stuff. You still had to pay for it. You know who that benefits.
Definitely a credit card company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so much going on where you just be like, what's next? It's almost like every day you just like today was slow, it was quiet. But every time it gets really, 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 really quiet, then all of a sudden some pop off. I'm just like great example, January 6th.
Oh God.
That right there, it was quiet, it was peaceful. And then what was the indicator was me and my daughter, we were at Memphis and we went to this coffee shop and it was out in East Memphis. And it's the area we went to. It's a predominantly, white. But Memphis is a chocolate city. So even though it's predominantly white, it's still a small population. And black people are all around them. Well, it was a small band of Trump supporters standing out there with signs, and I said, that's crazy. And as I turned my radio on, all of a sudden you hear about it's heating up in DC with the people that supported Trump. So I'm wondering what's going to happen, because the way it's looking, these Democrats ain't gonna make it back. If we see another 4 years, if Christ ain't came yet, Trump gonna be back in office. I think they gonna vote him in, and it's gonna be another war. They ready to fight almost in Congress right now. They ready to fight. I'm like, somebody finna fight in a minute in the Capitol building. And it's so much going on right now. The Democrats and the Republicans don't agree. The Democrats and the Republicans have never agreed, but I've never seen this much disagreement. And I'm like, this is almost like pop shots. They ain't even disagreeing and saying, okay, we're gonna figure something out. This is disagreement like somebody go. I'm just waiting to watch the news one day and see a fist fight. That's how bad it is right now.
Like in that church when that dude ran down there and popped that dude sitting in the front row. I thought that was fake for so long. I was like, this can't be real. This man just got up in the middle of the sermon and just hit that dude.
That's how it
stage at the service, man.
That's the way it's gonna be. Somebody gonna pop somebody. I think I just watched the news because I don't want to miss it. Like, I'm like, something happened. I don't want to miss it. Let me keep watching it, because I'm gonna be mad if I miss it. Like, I have CNN going all day in my house, because it's just something's about to happen, man. And I'm like, I don't want to get caught off guard. Then
Al Jazeera is way better than CNN. You're going to find more information and you'll get it faster. CNN won't tell you that the bombs done dropped on you. Even if the bombs is dropping, CNN will come up and be like, well, it's a mostly peaceful war and no bombs are happening. Like, they was literally standing in front of a burning building talking about this has been a mostly peaceful mostly peaceful gathering, and there's a whole building burning behind the dude. And I'm like, bro, that don't look like you standing in front of a burning building. But all this stuff is really just manufactured. They've been playing games for years, man. This whole Democrat Republican thing, it's all fake. The January 6th thing was overblown too. They literally let them people in. Them people in. I still don't know how. Like, they let them people walk in, and they walked in between like the little lines too. That's the part that's funny.
You know why I don't think this is playing? This is a game, because everybody's fighting for power right now. Everybody's trying to get a voice, and it's a fight for power. I think actually this is real. People are actually trying to fight for power. And that's where we are right now.
Well, if you look at it, this is just my opinion. I agree with Red that it is scripted. If you look at all of the world leaders, they're all on the same script, right? And they all are going along with the program globally, right? And so there's no resistance, no true resistance. Even when you look at Russia, and then you have this, in my opinion, another possible false flag that's going to happen January 29th, which is the North Carolina military exercise against patriots. And so, I mean, it looks like it could easily go into a civil war scenario, which would work for them, because then they can clamp down even more, citing, national security. So
now I do see a situation where there are puppet masters that are playing both sides of the fence, because they're all the same when you start getting up to that 1%. But I think when you get down to the lower levels, I think the 1% are adding to the fire, and they're fighting amongst each other. And the more they fight, the 1% may say, I'm on this side, and the other one may be on another side, but actually they're together to cause an ultimate destruction of everything around us. So I think on one end they are together, but the lower you get down that food chain, I don't think they have that much know-how to even be a part of that system. I think they're being played
So the people at the bottom are just the puppets, but the puppet masters are the ones. So in essence, it's scripted, right? Because the puppet
It's
masters
scripted.
are
It's
making it.
scripted.
Even when you look through history,
Yeah.
the history shows the very same thing. Like I just talked about it a little bit earlier with Lincoln. Lincoln was killed not because he freed the slaves, it's because he didn't go with the narrative.
Mhm.
Everybody who went against the narrative, they got murked. This was them to show people that, hey, you don't do what we say, this is what happens to you. It's like what what's his name, Rothschild said, I don't care who makes the laws as long as I get to make the money. He knows that with the money you can control everything and everybody. And for something this important, they're not going to have and leave anything to chance. Just look at what happened in Africa. You had 7 leaders that went against the program, and then mysteriously 7 men died in 1 year.
Yep.
All leaders who went against the program. And the last one got killed by military that had American ex-special operations in it.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Yep.
And y'all remember the French Revolution, right?
Yes.
It's the same thing, you know. The peons, they know what was happening. They was running around protesting, doing all their thing, and it was the elite managing everything, you know, from behind the scenes, and that's what's happening again.
Yep. Because I think the puppet masters you'll never see. What we see on TV are not the puppet masters. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's scripted. I think that's real. The puppet masters you'll never see. You'll
Right.
never see them. And like I said, the other people, they're just some of the politicians, they trying to just like I said, they're trying to get control for financial gain and please the 1%ers. And the 1%ers are the ones that's just saying, keep fighting, y'all.
But it's not financial gain. They got all the money already. It's control, it's power. You know, 'cause they literally want to control what you think, what you eat, where you go, when you take a dump. They want to control every part of you and not have not they are so bad that they want to remove your peace of mind. Because they're
Yes.
gonna have chips in you where you're gonna have to go to a certain location on the server to get a peace of mind, because otherwise you the Borg and you ain't gonna have no peace. That's what they want.
Yep. And you know what I saw? You notice a lot of these space movies are showing that people are leaving Earth, going somewhere for a little bit while everything falls apart. I was starting to watch this movie, and I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna try to watch it tonight. It's called The Colony, and it's on Netflix. And it deals with a group of individuals, a class of people living in outer space because the world was falling apart because of war and weather and all these different things that they left. And now they sent some people back to see if Earth, I think it's like a couple of decades, they sent people back to Earth to see if Earth is good or they
That's
can.
the 100, right?
No, it's called The Colony.
The Colony sounds just like the 100.
Yep.
There's so many. It's like what Sister E said. There's a lot of shows because that's their grand plan. I mean, if you ever read the book Protocols of the Elders of Zion, everything that we see is exactly what's happening. It's literally everything that's going on. And they believe that they're going to basically have this war and they're going to kill off a bunch of humanity.
Yep.
And only the chosen elite will get to move on into their future that they want. I mean, they have it on the Georgia Guidestones. Keep humanity under, I think, what, 500 million or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I hope I make it out alive, man. This thing is serious.
Oh yeah.
No, that's why they're doing all this research of going to space. Elon Musk and all of them? They're not doing it.
Yeah, they're trying to get to Mars.
They're trying to figure out how to do this thing so that when it's time to go, it's time to go. And they going. But the thing is, they're not gonna make it. Because really they're, you know what, Pastor Darby said something that stayed with me and is still with me. They're trying to hide from judgment.
Yep.
Because judgment is coming.
Right. They think again. You know, like I said, when you were talking about it, it sounded like that movie. You see a movie called Elysium.
I've seen that.
Yep. So basically, it's the same concept. The uber rich and everything are living in a gigantic space colony above the Earth, and the Earth is basically trash. And everybody and people who are still down here are fighting. That's what I'm also seeing too. As much as a science nerd that I am, looking at Elon Musk, the way he's trying to do set up a Mars colony. I mean, they're getting the technology together now. They've probably actually had it for a little while to get there. It's just the idea of sustainability in a hostile environment like Mars.
And I was just about to say that Obadiah 1:4. It says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou sit thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. So I really believe that they're going to try to make their home in the stars. And what's going to happen is the Most High is going to bring them
But
out.
see,
That's
there's no place for them to go. They think there is, and I think they've been lied to by the fallen angels, right? AKA aliens, which is why we hear so much about them today. I think that's one of the next things too. After this war, those fallen angels are going to come down and say, "Hey, we're here to bring peace. We can't have war no more." And everything we've been seeing on in the movies is going to come to pass.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
All I'm gonna say is we need to abandon all concepts and precepts that Babylon has taught us. Whether we still sitting here thinking that, because y'all already know how I sit on the whole universe and all that theory right there, all that what's his name? Bill Nye, who ain't even the science guy, that guy. He already is on record saying, hey guys, you need to get the earth together. He was talking about climate change, and he's like, the earth is a closed system. There's no escaping. We only got one earth and we need to fix it. That's his climate change push off. But liars often tell the truth sometimes. They not going up into the stars and all that. They digging vaults and digging into the earth. I was watching this dude who had he put a bunker in his mansion, and I went to the website for the dudes that was building the bunker, because I'm like, dang, that's crazy. They put bunkers in like that, and this dude is like, he's selling bunkers left and right to ultra rich people. They buying up these huge. I'm talking about they building literal mansions in these mountains. they going deep underground with all this stuff, but they ain't telling nobody. Like all these rich people from like the Jay-Z's and all of them, they building all these crazy bunkers to try to go underground. So they know something is coming, but they're not going up. They're going in the mountains.
Did y'all ever see the TV series Babylon 5?
I've never seen Babylon 5. I've never seen it. I've never seen it before.
That's a great series.
Yeah, I think it was great, right? But remember, in Babylon 5, they stated that the earth was a prison planet, right? And for the angels and for those who not redeemed, it is a prison planet, right? They can't go anywhere. They can't go into heaven. And so, that's why you had, the symbolic war between the shadows and the human race and the Vorlons. And the Vorlons were the type of angels, right?
Right.
So it's like there was a lot in that, because Babylon 5 was a space, what you call it?
Space opera.
Space opera.
No, the Babylon 5 itself, it was a space station.
Yes.
Yeah, 5 miles long.
Yeah, and so that was symbolic, because all of the races were on that space station, just like we have in America and the whole New World Order system, which is a Babylonian system, which is like Babylon 5. That movie tells you a lot of what's going on.
Yep.
They've been telling us for a long time, man.
I mean, even when you look, I really, and I still think that they're exploring space for a reason. And I think they're exploring for other colonies so they can go somewhere else, because they know, one, they have literally destroyed the earth to the point that the weather is so unpredictable that today it's 20 degrees, tomorrow it may be a tornado outside. You just can't tell. And it's going to get only progressively worse from here. So I think that they're trying to find somewhere to go outside of Earth, period.
So why are they destroying the earth, right? Because the Bible says God going to destroy those who destroy the earth. We see that Bill Gates want to block the sun, right? We see the Chinese building a sun because there ain't going to be no sun, right? I'm like, what the heck going on here? I mean, I'm of the opinion these guys can't be human or fully human, because it makes no sense.
Yep.
They want to change the ecosystem. I mean, when you read in Enoch, it talks about how y'all said it. The angels ruined the earth. And these are the people that's following in their footsteps. They're going to come in and just, they have this by any means necessary attitude. They don't care about the goodwill of the earth. They already showing it with all this nonsense that they pushing in the food and stuff. Oh, we don't have any more natural chicken? We're going to grow some in a Petri dish for you. Oh, you don't have no more natural this? Oh, okay. We'll just grow some in a Petri dish or make some artificial this. Like they already, they be trying to basically do what Yah does, but it's always perverted and wrong.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, they're trying to be like him.
Right.
It's like the biggest case of imposter syndrome. I mean, that was really, a lot of times the church, that ones that did even talk about it, they talk about the Nephilim. They say, oh, well, the angels who came down because, they were just, they were just nasty and they had lust in their hearts and all this. I'm like, nah, that's one part of it. But the real thing is they wanted to create the same way Yah created. because y'all came down and made us in his image. So them in their rebellion, they wanted to make something in their own image. That's why, again, when you read it in Enoch, he said, okay, y'all want to act up. You're going to see all your kids die before I deal with you. So you're going to stay down there and I'm going to deal with all your kids and they're going to die. And then after they dead, then I'm going to lock you up and you're going to be like this. He told them, I'm going to let you see it with your own eyes. Why would he do that? Because he knew that they were trying to basically copy him and to make their own thing in the earth because they wanted to be like him and make their own creations. That's why they started messing around with DNA and making all this crazy stuff.
Yep. And because the thing is, when people say, oh, sin and lust, sin been on the earth since the fall of Adam.
Come on.
So it can't be, you can't just be sin because sin has been here. Well, they bring up other, in sexual acts that are inappropriate. Guess what? That's been here since the beginning of time. This isn't new. All these things people are doing, it's nothing new. It's just, it's a little bit more visible, but people been doing all types of stuff for thousands upon thousands of years. So sin itself is nothing new because again, the fall of Adam was the beginning of it. It's something with the only time I really, when you saw God says, okay, I got to do something with these people, is when they tried to make themselves God.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They come together and try to, like I say again, that's why the whole idea of, say a Mars colony or looking at any of the exoplanets out there, like the Kepler system, any of those, it takes a global effort, and that's what they're looking for to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because every single time, like I said, these movies, it's like they leave Earth and they come back after they've destroyed it, and they're trying to hide from judgment. I mean, I know that they have bunkers. I've seen bunkers too. And I've seen that they sell them too. If you go online, you'll see that they have certain bunkers on sale. But I'm like, what sense? And I'm just thinking about this. What sense does it mean to go? What does it sense is it to make to go underground?
Exactly.
That doesn't make sense to me, especially if some are hiding and they know God is going to judge. I really believe that. So hiding underground, what is that going to do?
And it literally talks about it in the Bible. Up next, I was just going to bring up that same thing. And he had said it in the chat about how the Bible talks about how they're going to go into the mountains and they're going to beg for rocks to fall on their head. Like, that's exactly what it is. They digging into the mountains. That's why I say most of this space stuff is just, they ain't even going into space. That's the thing. They're doing low orbits. It's the same crap they used to do with, they used to do that junk for fun where they would take people on those trips and you go up in the plane and then they do like a low orbit drop and then it feels like you're weightless for a little bit. They're not even going up in the outer space. And I'm like, number two, if they're going into space, how come all the pictures that they take, these is billionaires rather, that could build rockets, but your phone is still taking crappy pictures when you go into outer space? I'm like, come on, man. Like, that's why I say, man, we gotta abandon all the stuff from these people because all they do is lie. And these lies that they tell eventually will get so good that y'all said it, even the very elect will be deceived because we can't throw off of this nonsense that they keep putting in our minds that they have, though, all this stuff that they keep telling us about. Like, well, Pluto was a planet when we was a kid, then now it's not a planet, and then now it's a planet again. Come on, man. Like, none of the stuff they have makes sense. The rotational speed of the Earth is like got 666 in it, and I think the distance of the sun also is 666. So what's the coincidence of both of these things having 666 in their rotating their speed and all this? Like, this stuff that they saying, they be lying because they want people to think that, oh, we just an individual speck and there's this huge giant universe and Yahuwah is nowhere there, but the Bible says that the Earth is his footstool. We are literally beneath the Savior right now. We look up, we know that beyond this firmament, the Savior sits right there, sitting high, looking low. He ain't off in no far off distance. We not off in no little tiny universe. We right here under the Savior, but they're gonna lie to us and tell us, oh, we all in this big universe. Nope, here comes what's that stupid planet they say that comes around every now and then? Oh, here comes the one planet, and then all of a sudden, oh, looky here, we got aliens and they're here to meet Obama. You know how many people gonna be going for that crap?
Well, a lot of people gonna fall for it. I mean, we see that today, right? I mean, I don't get it. But anytime, you like I said before when I was on the show, you get in the druidism, I think you believe anything personally.
Yeah, it's true. If you got jokers talking about two sticks with the doggone Book of Mormon, they'll believe this alien nonsense in a heartbeat.
Exactly.
They go, I mean, what was it? A couple years ago, they said you was crazy for talking about UFOs. You was a conspiracy theorist. Oh, that's insane. And now that's dumb. And that ain't real. And anytime, I would tell people, I'm like, nah, these things is real. That's just real stuff. But it's government technology. Oh, you crazy. What you talking about? Now Obama come out and say it and everybody believe. I'm like, I can't with you Negroes.
And the Pentagon is saying it.
Right. Now y'all only believe because the president told you, so you only believe truth when it's told to you by one of these fools up here that they call an elected official. Nah, man, use your eyes, use your ears, use your common sense and see the stuff that's going on. Like, no.
So I got a quick question. So what do y'all think wormwood is?
That doggone rock that Yahuwah used to bring down Babel.
Yep, meteor.
That rock he dropped down.
That's what?
An asteroid. This sounds basically like an asteroid.
Mm-hmm. So where would the asteroid come from? Where would the asteroid come from if there's no space?
That's all from Yahuwah. The same place the waters from below. When he said he started the flood, he opened the waters above with the waters below. That's what he talked about. The waters of the deep opened up and the waters above. So if Yahuwah has agency over the waters above and everything there, then he opened it up and he also can shoot down these little rocks and stuff. Because when they were building Babel, they had the ability to do something. They was going up there to do something. And y'all said that if he left it alone, they would have been able to do some stuff. So whatever they had going on at Babel, it was more than just going up super, super high. I believe like what Cat's been saying in the what you call it. It's also like CERN and all that dang it, word slips my mind right now. Particle accelerator and all that nonsense that they're doing with that they trying to tap into another. They literally trying to tap into another dimension, making portals. That's what I feel that they trying to do, and they trying to get in. So if they can go in and go this way, don't you think Yahuwah can reverse it and do it the other way?
But also remember the firmament was broken up. Now a lot of people think it was just ice, but it could have been a combination of ice and maybe rock and all that stuff too. We don't know how the firmament was really made, but we know it was broken up and fell down to earth. That's Bible. So
actually, I think because actually this is okay. I was going to talk about a little bit what I've been trying to study. I think the issue is a lot of the language that, especially the Hebrew language that was used to describe things like the firmament and circle of the earth. I think the issue is for us is that it had been, I would say, misused for so long. For instance, the idea of the firmament, say, being a hard thing, it was the term rakia that I was looking up. And from what I'm reading from the Hebrew, it didn't mean hardness. It meant more of extension. And the hardness concept came, the book I'm reading came basically from the 70 who translated the Septuagint into the Greek, and being influenced by the Greek thoughts, concepts of the cosmos was, you've heard the term the music of the spheres. The Greeks at the time thought that the planets, or we call it, the term is planetes, which basically means wandering stars, where you get the word planet from, that they were basically held like a firmament, like a crystal. So each one is like a level of crystal, and that is the idea of a hardness of the planets and so forth that's supposed to be orbiting, and everything being geocentric. But from what I'm reading, from what the Hebrew said, the ancient Hebrews didn't have that concept. They were writing basically to an audience that did have the idea of a hardness, but the word akia itself seems to mean more of extension. And there's a couple of scriptures that talked about that, but so we can talk about that another time. But that's kind of thing actually I've been researching to find out, where do these concepts come from? The Hebrew concept of a cosmos versus the Gentile version of a cosmos, and looking at that, what's called archaeoastronomy, because people did look into the heavens even a long time ago. Even our ancestors did. The question is, how did they understand those things, and how was that translated into the language, into the scriptures that we read now?
What did you say that word was?
Rakia, which is basically the word we read as firmament.
Yeah, the expanse. It means expanse, or the flat out.
Right, but it was right, and it was used in different places that talked about like the I have to go look at the scriptures, but it actually talked about that. But it gave more of an idea of expansion as opposed to hardness. they said when it was translated into the Septuagint, they were influenced again by that Greek concept that they were around because it was writing to them. And the Greeks thought of it in terms of like a heart, like a shell for each of the worlds that they could see. Because again, they saw these lights moving in the sky and they were like planetes. And that's what they called it. And that's why we get the idea of planets now. Because if you look at the stars, like for instance, look at the Orion constellation. You know, you could look at, say, if I showed you a planet like this is the winter months now, you can still like see Jupiter and everything. You can see Jupiter and them move, but the other stars and everything seem to stay fixed. So they will look at these things move like, what in the world is that? That's what said planet is, and that's what we found. Like, yeah, there are these lights moving across while these other stars seem to stay where they're at.
But see, this is why I disagree with that, because in Enoch they knew about all this. Yah called them wandering stars, and they knew that they were called wandering stars. And then even in Genesis, he said the lights up in heaven. He didn't say anything solid or anything like that. He said let the lights. They were called lights up in heaven, and does the stars. So he never said that they were any like hard expanse. He never said anything like that was on there. And mainly rakia means an expanse, or it's actually a construction term. It means to lay it flat. Now, I do agree some concepts get in with the Greek, but if we're going to say that an actual definition of a Hebrew word has a Greek influence, then where do we draw the line on any of the Hebrew definitions that we have?
So I'm saying, and right, and that's actually a good conversation to have. So that's why, you know, I'm researching these things. Say, okay, what's the truth about these things concerning, you know, about what we do observe versus what they wrote.
Yeah, because you do
So like I said,
because you do have some people in the community that believes in outer space where others don't.
correct.
You do have a split decision when it comes to the community. You have some that say that flat earth. Then you have those that believe in the firmament. They believe that there is no space. But then you have others that say, yeah, there is a space, and what we consider to be the heavens, but it's considered to be the space. But that would be a great conversation. I mean, I think we can get some more people up here that can agree on one end and disagree on the other end. That would be a great combo because, like I said, that's kind of like split in the community, but it's even split in the non-Israelite community.
Correct.
I was just going to say that there's
Correct.
lots of Gentiles that have already researched this, and some have even had enough money to do experiments on stuff. Because I didn't come into this with a dog, the dog in that fight. As far as how that goes, I believed like everybody else. I was like, yo, it's it's silly to think anything otherwise. And I watched the video to laugh at these dudes, but when I saw the points that these dudes was making, and I'm like, that's actually a pretty good point. And when I see the scientists come in, and I'm like, okay, counter that point with something good. And all they did was like do ad hominem and laugh. Every
Which
time
is
somebody
bad.
brings up these good points, they ad hominem and they laugh.
Correct. That's wrong.
They never do anything. So I'm like, if it's so obvious, then why can't you go in there and show it? Why don't you take people who are regular? The one space shuttle where they took regular people up conveniently blew up. They was gonna have they had a regular teacher, regular a couple of them people in there. I forget what that shuttle was. It Challenger or whatever that blew up. They had a whole bunch of regular people in that shuttle, and how convenient that this shuttle blows up. Like it's so much stuff that I started paying attention to, and I'm just like this. Why do we accept everything that Babylon tells us? Why do we not just trust the Bible for what it says instead of taking the Bible and trying to fit Babylon into our mindset into there? Why can't we just read what the Bible says and take what Yah says over what they have taught us? Because again, they taught us we were Hamites. They taught us that we had no history other than slavery. They taught us that Jesus was white, aka clear. They taught us all kinds of stuff. We know all that's fake. Why we still want to hold on to the other stuff?
But I don't really think that that's a Babylonian thing, though, far as concepts of space and there is no space.
Well, I
Because
think it is. I think it is because um, we have to readjust our thinking and our mind because we've been programmed from birth. And if we go back to the ancient ways of thinking, right, and that is inclusive in the biblical and the ancient text, the angels were the heavenly hosts, right? They were the stars in heaven. And I think, even in Revelation, we see the angel that's in the sun who throw the plagues on the earth, right? I think that the angels are those stars that you see. We need to get rid of the idea of a globe, right, with dirt and grass and all these type of things, right? Because even in Deuteronomy 4:19, it says, and when you look up in the sky and see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the heavenly array, do not be enticed into bowing down to them and worshiping things the Lord your God has apportioned to all the nations under the heavens. But we also know in Deuteronomy, I think it's Deuteronomy 32, that God separated the nations according to the B'nai Elohim, right? But kept Israel as his own portion. And so I think we've been brainwashed to believe this whole idea or viewpoint of going from planet to planet, when that could be what the Bible refers to as the heavens, where the angels are, which is why we see them twinkling and shining, right, and showing forth all the beauty of the heavens, because they were here before the earth was created. The stars were created. So I think we need to get rid of all of this traveling to other planet stuff and go back to the more esoteric, even though I know that's not a great word, but the more esoteric view of the heavens.
Esoteric just means hidden. They took it and make it,
Yeah,
crazy. But esoteric, yeah, and it's hidden because you got to think the Egyptians, the Mayans, all these ancient, even the Sumerians, all these ancient civilizations had the same model. They just had like little differences in how they drew it, but they all drew it with the earth, with waters above and waters, underneath it, and waters above a firmament. It's like a flat earth with it around. Even the doggone Freemasons, in a common Freemason symbol that everybody's seen with the little checkerboards, the two pillars, and then it's like a little line, like an upside down smile, and an eye right above it. That's their same thing with the symbolism for what you see in all the old stuff. They know what it is. They've just been telling all these lies to people so they can make the way for, number one, it creates nihilism, because a lot of people feel like, oh, we're just this one planet. There's tons of galaxies. What's the point? What's all this? We're just one big speck in this big thing. So it creates a nihilism in people. And number two, it makes the way for this great lie that they have coming up. They can come out here and just straight lie and tell people, oh yeah, we're aliens and we came from Sumeria and this is Ea Enki and we created you, and here we are to come and make you better, and here, take this little shot and it'll make you a superhuman. You'll be better, you won't get sick and whatever, and this is the kind of right there that's going to change your DNA and be the mark of the beast, and people going to take it because the aliens told them to take it.
I'm just looking at the chat, but this will be a great conversation. I think.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Sati.
No, what were you saying, Jacobo?
What do you call it? When you have the garden in the backyard and it's enclosed in a
terrarium.
Aquarium.
Terrarium.
Terrarium. Yeah,
yep.
I think that's what Earth is.
Yep.
The Earth is a terrarium, and we're in God's backyard, right? Mm-hmm. And they want us to think we're not in His backyard, right? That's why the Bible says the Earth is His footstool, right? We're in His backyard, and He looks over us and provides for us. We're being taken care of in His garden, right? Which was the Garden of Eden, right? Symbolically, right? And so this whole mindset, we really have to throw out of this traveling to other planets, and the sun is out there, and we landed on the moon. You can't convince me at all we ever landed on the moon, So I think we have to go back to the ancient understanding, because they knew what was going on, in my opinion. It's us now being brainwashed by multimedia and this whole thing, and we think we know, but we only know what they put in our mind. So like I saw this meme, it says the thing we're going to have to learn is how to unlearn, right? Unlearn what we've been programmed with and then relearn.
That's the real key of it, because Babylon has basically just lied to us on a systematic basis. And, not everything that they told us was a lie, because there's some things that's obvious, like the laws of thermodynamics. You can't lie about that because we can easily prove that. Anything that we can easily disprove in our own backyard, they have to tell the truth about, because I'm quite sure they would lie even if they could about that. I mean, Tesla came up with the way, basically Tesla created a power inducer, which is like what you use when you take your phone on a wireless charger and you have a coil of wire and it creates a magnetic field and it induces a charge into your other phone. He wanted to do that, but on a global scale. And he got his inspiration from going to Egypt and learning from Egypt and learning from what they had. What's his name? Hitler had a whole this hidden hand secret society of witches and warlocks that they would go around looking at these different ancient artifacts, and the doggone Nazis was like the #1 technological powerhouse, so much so that America took all their scientists, and the current rockets that they launching with NASA was built by a former Nazi. They got him on NASA website and everything. Like, oh, here he is, sir, whatever. Like it's all throughout history. We see that a lot of these big nations was going hunting after these old artifacts and grabbing stuff. That's what Rome did. As soon as the Catholic Church came into power, what they do? They went running around with everybody at the Crusades and stealing all their stuff because they wanted to get rid of all their tech and all the knowledge of the tech that they had. They just couldn't get everything in India because India had so much stuff. And now when you read some of India's ancient writings, you start to see that this is why they was chasing it, because they talking about living in the sky. India has what those things were. They were called Vahamas. They were giant floating fortresses, and they were literally they said the gods would live in them, and that's where they would go up and they would travel around in these giant fortresses because they want to be like the Most High, like what Satan said. I'm gonna assault my throne up in the heaven. They want to be high like Yah, so they can't go over the firmament because just like Sister E said, they stuck down here. They stuck. Yeah. They can't go nowhere. That's what Nephilim means, earthborn.
So quick question. So what about individuals because the reason I'm a little skeptical, because I've used telescopes before and I've seen planets or whatnot as much as I could see them with the telescope. And I know that, I don't know if Aerospike, but this guy just said that he had a telescope and he was able to see certain things. What are y'all thoughts on that?
Well, I think a lot of us look through telescopes, and most of the time you see this fuzzy light, right? You see this fuzzy whirling light type of water looking thing, right? You don't never see any crevices on the moon like they always say. Like I used to hear people say, yeah, I was able to see the surface of the moon, and I've never seen it. When I saw like this funny looking glowing type of thing. Now the other question is, how come you can see the moon and the sun in the sky at the same time? If what they told us is true, right? Yep. It makes no sense, and we've all seen it. And so, that's why for me, I see things, I'm going more to the biblical view because anything they told us is a lie. So like God tells us that Israel was a vine planted in the earth, right? Basically, Israel was a plant planted in his garden, and he planted a whole bunch of things in his garden. And then the enemy came in and disrupted the garden, right? I'm like, all of this symbology is telling us how the world works and how God works and where he is and how we interact. And all of this stuff, what we think we know about the heavens, I think we just deceived personally.
Okay. Like I said, I'm an amateur astronomer, so I got pictures. I've gotten, like I said, a picture of the moon, the craters, things like that. But I have a small scope, so it's not that great, but you can still see the details of these things. Planets like Saturn, Jupiter, and things like that. If you're a bigger scope,
let me ask you, Aerospike, were you able to see the contours and the dips on the moon?
Yeah, you can see some of them. I can send some to you. Like I said, it's a small scope, but yeah, I got pictures. I actually did a video, was that a month or two ago? Well, actually, I was watching the moon transition against the sky, and I actually did a Facebook Live about it. But like I say again, it depends on the optics that you have with your telescope. Again, and this is all I want to say about it, because again, we all have different views on it. The issue, basically, I'm hearing is that the people outside of the Hebrew community, have lied to us. So it's almost like saying anything that they say is basically a lie. And so in some ways, we can't believe that. We can't trust nothing they say because of what they've done to us. So it makes it difficult. For me, I've actually X'd them out the equation altogether and say, I got two eyes, I have an instrument, I'm going to look. And so that's basically all I've done. To me, they're, whatever concepts they have, I'm not even worried about. For instance, what I think about like this, gravity, or if I guess the law of attraction between two masses. Or another one, acceleration. You jump off a building and you fall. Okay, it was a European who wrote basically the equation for that. It's X amount. Does that mean if you jump off a building and you don't believe in what they said, does it mean you don't fall? You see what I mean? So in other words, there are still laws and everything that Europeans.
do you believe in the idea of gravity or do you believe in the idea of density? I think density makes more sense scientifically than the idea of gravity.
Correct.
Well, again, if you look at it this way, it's not about say again, it's about what you can prove. Again, I think the idea is that there's a false dichotomy that's been put out there that says science and the scriptures are polar opposites. And to me, they're twins of the same womb. One explains the how, the other explains the why. So I don't see the two as separate. And I think that's what it is. Science, unfortunately, Europeans have made science a god, a religion in and of itself. That is what's problematic to me. It's like you cannot say that science it can explain everything. It's like no, you're failing. Say how did the universe begin? Oh, by quantum fluctuation within a vacuum. That's stupid because quantum mechanics is part of this universe. That makes no sense. But we
So
can
let
go
me
back
ask you, do you believe in the idea of gravity? Because gravity is this unknown force, right?
fact that they even don't understand quite what gravity is. They have something they can describe it, which is basically the curvature of space time due to the presence of mass.
Yeah, and that's the stuff they make up and can't prove, but you can prove density, right? And so with the mass of objects in like the good example of being in water, and the heavier it is or the more dense it is, it sinks, right? So even when we look at the earth and the idea of the birds and all that stuff and how they fly, they're
Yes.
flying in a light, let's say for all purposes, water, which is called air,
Yes,
right?
fluid dynamics.
And so like to me the whole idea of gravity is false, and it's all about density because we live in this bowl, right? You could call it a terrarium as well, right? That God created for life to survive. And that's what I think personally. I mean, that's just me
Okay.
looking at.
And I agree, because if gravity was a thing, then how is it that these birds can fly over the sea, but that gravity holds the sea down? So does gravity just have a stronger force on the water and then says, oh, that's a bird, I'm gonna let that fly over me? Or when we use a plane and we fly over the Atlantic, how come the gravity that holds down the earth doesn't allow the plane to fall down? So does the plane have that much power to defy gravity and then not, go down? Water always goes to rest at like a flat surface. Water never sits at an angle or anything like that. It goes to fit the surface of what it is. And if this force is so strong that it holds this water at a circular, within a circular, form, then it should also be strong enough not to allow these birds to fly over it. And it's just like what Minister Yacoba said, birds have hollow bones. Their density is lighter, so they can fly up and go above these things. But if gravity was real, then we would be walking around here like just dragging our feet, because that force would be like super strong to hold us down.
Okay. Well, like I say again, this is actually a really good subject that said we could be on here for hours talking about. And like I said again, I understand both of your perspectives on it. And again, my perspective is not science over faith. Wrong. To me, they're on the same level. One explains the how, the other explains the why. They said Yah is a Yah of creation and Yah of reason and logic, and Elohim who does these things. He made the universe understandable because it all points back to him. Everything, the heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. And that's the from it where I come from with my viewpoint.
I agree with you. Everything that we consider science is the work of God's hand. They called it science because they needed to label it as something. That's why I would say that that community is split that's one of those things that the community is split on when it comes to things like astronomy. And when it comes to certain things dealing with physics, we're I guess the community is divided because again, I've seen like going to the planetariums, and I actually have a telescope of my own that I was able to see like the moons, and I was able to see what Aerospike saw. So that's why I'm questioning sometimes when people say there is no space, because people have seen it and have taken pictures of it. And I don't think telescopes are doctored. I think they're just what they are, telescopes.
Well, let me ask you a question. When you look through that telescope, right, your mind is already programmed to you're looking at a
Correct.
planet and you're
Okay.
seeing what they call the dark side of the moon,
No, we
and
can't
you're
see the dark
seeing
side of the moon from Earth. We can't see it.
well, I'm saying the crevices and all that stuff, and then there's the idea of the dark side of the moon. I'm just trying to give the the imagery that we've been programmed with, right?
Okay.
So we've been programmed with this image of what we see, and therefore it tells us what we're seeing. Now, it could be a planet. Don't get me wrong, because ain't nobody been there really, in my opinion. But to me, it definitely. I don't know. I'm sure Big Red probably remember the guy who said that the moon was a
Plasma phenomenon. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't want to go there, but oh yeah,
and you know, I agree with that. Now,
I do too.
the fact that we see these crevices, what we think are crevices on the moon, right? To me, could be the shape of that plasma, right? And that the Bible even says that there's a softer light that rules the night, and we
Yes,
know that that softer light does not reflect the sun because it is a cooler light,
correct.
right? So when we put all these things together, we have to ask ourselves, what exactly am I looking at? Am I looking at a planet, or am I looking at a plasma representation of something that they told me is a planet?
I mean,
That's just me.
yeah, that's just you. I think everybody, like I said, has their own perspective. Again, I'm talking about what I've seen. I don't think it was a mind game for me or a mind trick. I saw what I saw and just said, okay, I saw the moon.
So y'all recognize
Saw,
my picture?
huh?
Y'all recognize my picture that I have on? Is big. Since y'all looked at the moon, y'all should recognize my picture.
Yeah, I mean that's the Earth. I see what your
No,
picture
no, no,
is.
no, no, no.
No.
If you look at the moon, you should recognize my picture.
She
You
basically says
understand?
what the basically. Go ahead. Go ahead, Big Red.
Oh, no, I'm saying because if the moon itself, my picture that I have up is the moon. That picture
Right.
that
That's
I
what I'm
have on
thinking.
my thing is the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
that's
what?
what that's
So
the
I'm,
moon.
I'm
It's
just,
it's it's
I'm
flipped.
just,
It's a moon. The picture is it's a moon and it's flipped. And what a lot of people have noticed is when they flip the moon, they take a picture of the moon and flip it like it was an X-ray, you actually get an accurate image of what the Earth looked like. Because remember, the maps that we see are wrong. Africa is giganormous and huge.
Oh yeah.
But in all the maps they show Africa is small, they show Europe is huge, and America is huge. America is tiny, 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 tiny compared to Africa. Like there's nations in Africa that are huge, bigger than the United States, and even in Europe, that is huge. So when you look at this, when I first seen what they call the moon map, I couldn't understand it because I was thinking, just like what Jacoba said, my mind was already stuck on what they gave us already. When I was reading Enoch, I couldn't understand it because my mind was stuck on the what they gave us. But then when I read Jubilees, and then I started just abandoning that thought process, because Yah even said it. He has what they call Ruachach, or spirits that were assigned to each of the stars. And each star has basically like an angel that's dealing with it. And they have this phenomenon called sonoluminescence. And sonoluminescence, or star, they literally call it star in a jar. It's when you take water and you get water, you get rid of all the gases out of it, and then you drop a drop of water in it, and it creates like a little bubble. And then you run a certain frequency in through the jar, and it super heats the bubble, and then the bubble collapses and starts glowing like a star. And different frequencies produce different colors and whatnot. Now, there's people that look at the stars, but they don't use telescopes because telescopes are modified. They are. I deal with lenses and photography, and so like looking at lenses and stuff is kind of like one of those things that I do. And the lenses for those telescopes are specially tailor made, and they're done in a certain way to distort the image. But when you use a zoom, like a traditional zoom lens, and just look up at the sky and zoom at it that way, it looks totally different than when you look through a telescope. It looks more like what they talk about, that star in a jar, like all the planets.
So hold on a sec. So, Brett, are you saying that everything that I saw and Aerospike saw and a couple other people saw was fake?
No, I'm not saying that the moon is fake. I'm saying that what you think it is not what it is. They just like you said, there was a dude that when they were doing the moon landing, this was a whole, Ashkenazi dude who basically came out there and was like, oh, they can't land on the moon. It's a plasma phenomenon. Because they always have controlled opposition. He was like, oh no, it's a plasma phenomenon. It's impossible to land on the moon. On other planets, yeah, they can land on the other planets. But he specifically said you can't land on the moon. He said you can land on all the other thing else, but the moon itself was a plasma phenomenon and you can't land on it. So again, looking at the picture I have, it's the moon, but reversed, and they found out that it actually looks like a map of the Earth because they can point out all the different places on there, and it even has some places that you can't see now, but they exist because of underground plates and stuff like that, and how they've done different deep dives and found things underwater.
Yeah,
so it's not what they say it is.
So I will just say this. I'm gonna leave it where I stand. I know what I saw. I saw planets. I saw the moon. And I'm gonna take it as that. Now, is it a faith thing? No, but I do believe that God is enormous enough to not just make the earth but make other planets. I don't see it as that. I see it as what I saw is what I saw.
You know why you got the dark side of the moon?
Mm-hmm.
Because there ain't no other side.
There ain't no other side. You can see stars behind the moon. How does that work?
Okay. Well, like I said, it's a big subject. And I said we'd be here all night talking about it. But I think it's again what it said. What comes down to this again is that we know the word of God is true and it's solid. It is irrefutable, and again we know it's true. For me, it's still going to be again being programmed. Like I said, I know we've said we've been programmed to think and believe a certain way, but also have faith enough in Yah that says, Yah, show me the truth.
Yeah.
Help me to see the truth, no matter where that leads, where it goes to whatever I studied myself or away from it. It doesn't matter, because what he says that let God be true and every man a liar. Period. That's all it comes down to. And for me, it's going to be when I look up at the heavens. And somebody said hey, the Bible's not a science book. That is absolutely correct. It is not a science book. It's a book of how Yah has interacted with His creation,
Yes.
with the human race, what we've done to Him turning His back on us, and through faith in Yeshua that we go back to Him. That is what the Bible's about. But when it does touch on these things, it said the Book of Job that talks about the bear coming out. And he's talking about Orion. The bear talking about was Ursa Major, and his cub, Ursa Minor. That's what we call it. Because again, the latitude where these things were written at, that's what they would be able to see. So it was included in the scriptures. So, thanks again. For me, it's not even about what the sons of Japheth have written. I look at the laws, say, look at math itself, look at the laws. It's like, okay, this is what it is. They said, what didn't because in Job says, do you know the laws of the heavens? I believe that was. Don't let me be a liar here, but I believe I was reading that in Job. I want to say it was Job 30, that was 38, talking about when he challenged them. Like, do you know the laws of the heavens? Like, whoa, laws, heavens. So it's like, oh, so in other words, there are rules that are set up
Let me
to
ask you a
govern the
question,
heavens.
Narrow Spike. When you was in this, awakening in this walk, how many times did you have to readjust your thinking from what you thought you knew?
Mm.
And it wasn't easy, was it?
Actually, it was because it wasn't hard at all
Let me
for
ask you
me
this:
to
did you do this? Because I did this. Surely that can't be. Surely they couldn't have hit us all these years. Surely, how are we the people and they hit it? You know what I'm saying? They're hitting us for all these years. I mean, did you ask those type of questions? I know I did. I was like, surely this can't be true. And then it's like, yeah, it is true. I mean, have you had to?
Okay, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Sister.
I was just saying, I think this will be a deeper conversation. You can finish what you're saying, Jacob, but I think
Go
where
ahead.
we are right now is you got one person that is seeing one thing, another group that says that possibly it can be true. We can have a deeper conversation, but I think this is going to be a round conversation
Yeah,
because I
nobody's
think,
gonna be right, Sister E.
oh yeah,
Because there ain't no way we can, unless we could go into outer space and go to the moon. But the reason why I brought that up is because I remember when I would look at certain scriptures dealing with the host of heaven, dealing with canon, and then looking at the things like the Book of Enoch, and then you get confused. It don't make no sense.
Yep.
The reason why it don't make no sense is because we're thinking about planets, right?
Yes.
But if we think about these esoteric lights and beings that inhabit that realm, right, whatever it is, right, then it starts to make sense because it's esoteric, right? Your mind is outside of the physical earth, right? Like we've been brainwashed for all these years. So that's why I asked that question, because it even like right now, I mean, I'm still adjusting my thinking, right? All the time. And
time.
so that's why, I'm open to the idea that what's out there is not a planet that you can land on. So that's it.
Yeah, and I'll say that you have to also read. You can't just read the 66 that Nicaea gave. If you want to have an understanding, you got to read Enoch, you got to read Jasher, and you got to read what's the other one? Jubilees. Like you got to go in and read those extra books and see what, because it actually the Bible and the scriptures actually is a science book, because Yah is explaining how he did things. It even talks about that after the flood with Noah, when he took some of the demons and locked them up, the rest of them were going to be left on the earth. So Yahuwah said, okay, there's going to be some on there and they're going to have to deal with these demon spirits. He told his angels, go down there and give Noah a book to figure out to tell him how to fight these things with different herbs of the earth and with different things on the earth. So the angels came down and gave this writing to Noah, and I'm sure our ancestors had that writing too. But what we have to realize is they always take books away. They always are hiding. They don't add, they don't put things in, they take things away. At Nicaea, they took books away. When we came over here and they gave us the slave Bible, they took things away. So don't just read the 66, read Enoch, read Jasher, read Jubilees, and then come back and say, okay, everything that they taught us fits in the confines of what they teach here.
So I will say this much. I would say, can we get I would love to see the pictures that Aerospike has. And we can show them to see, because again, I'm more so leaning, I'm gonna just admit it, I'm leaning more towards agreeing with Aerospike. Because of, like I said, the things that I visibly saw with my own eyes. If I hadn't seen it, I mean, I'm not saying y'all hadn't, I'm just saying what I saw. And what going to planetariums. In fact, I love planetariums. And I think Aerospike knows that. In fact, I have a telescope here. And do I know how to work it as well as I could? I could do a little bit better. I may need some pointers from you, Aerospike.
Sure.
But I mean, I have it because I've always been one of those that was fascinated by the stars. So I mean, I think this could be a deeper conversation, but like I said, I'm leaning more towards agreeing with Aerospike based off of what I've seen.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I said again, and somebody put about no Book of Mormon. I'm like, yeah, Book of Mormon is trash. Yeah, like absolutely. That's complete garbage.
What was that? Ain't no two sticks here.
Yeah, exactly. I was looking and said no Book of Mormon for some sister being. I was like, you're right. Yeah, Book of Mormon is absolute trash. Burn it.
For real.
Use it for toilet paper, whatever you want to do. I don't care. But yeah, actually, I did post some of those books, some of those images on Facebook, and I'll go ahead and repost them. And if you guys, if you want, I can go ahead and tag them if you want, or I can send them to you privately. It's up to you.
If you want to, we can probably do a live one day this week or next week, and you can show some of the pictures, and we can kind of all talk through it. This is a great conversation. I enjoy conversations like this. Talking about the Bible in reference to, is there outer space, or is there inner space? Is there firmament? How does it firm? Because I at one time was a flat earther, but I'm not. I don't totally believe that it's a flat earth based off of some other pictures that I've seen. So so I mean, this will be a great conversation. I mean,
yeah, tag me, Aerospike, that'd be great.
Sure. Okay. I'll go back in that now. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and tag you in them. So, like I say again, my telescope is a 3-inch telescope in terms of its aperture and how wide it is. So don't expect something that you're going to see something from the Hubble. It does not look that way. But yeah, I'll be happy to go ahead and tag you in that.
I have enjoyed this conversation. I really have. Anything else y'all want to add?
Well, the only thing I want to add is, all of this stuff is theoretical. These are things that you usually talk about with your friends in the corner, because other people come around and try to judge you and say, oh, they believe in the flat earth. Oh, this and that, right? I'm like, we all working our way through this thing, and this is fun. So.
Right, we're I said we family. I said not even everybody in family. Not everybody in family agrees with each other. Say, and we ain't nobody sitting up here giving each other the side eye. Like, no, we family. Y'all come through here and be like, what we gonna do? Eat.
Correct, and it'll be a good conversation on things like this, because again, it goes into what I was saying earlier, that across all beliefs and groups and faiths, you have those that don't believe certain things and some who do believe in certain things. But the conversation is good. And I hate that we can't have this type of conversation because onlookers. But I'm still willing to have the conversation. I don't care what they think. I don't, me. I don't care about what they think about me. I'm not going to stop being me. This is very good conversation. This is I would love if Aerospike wants to do this, we can come back and finish this. And don't forget we could be talking about a cherry tree. They're gonna make a story out of it. Oh,
that's true.
No, man, that's so facts. That is so facts. So it don't really matter what you say. They're gonna talk crap regardless.
Correct.
Yep.
So I say
we sure will.
I think we need to have this because it's a very good conversation and people are enjoying it. I don't care about what they think. Again, I could say that I got on red shoes. They'll be like, "Oh, Sister E walking with Satan," something. They'll make up something. They don't care. They just do stuff just cause.
Be
But
honest with you, I think it's fun. I mean, I enjoy those type of topics. I just don't talk about it too much.
Yeah, it's like I said, no, yeah, it could be difficult, depending on the audience. Because again, like you said, those people who, you know, big way you were talking about, the person had a point, and the scientist came on there just simply made fun of them, made ad hominem attacks, which is absolutely idiotic. It's like if there's a legitimate point, address the legitimate point, and don't sit there and go like, "Oh, y'all so stupid." No, that's arrogance. That's absolute arrogance, and that's why people don't want to listen. They be like, "You're liars because you can't even answer a question. All you do is sit there and laugh at us." Why would I
This
want
is
to listen to you?
what also twisted me towards it is Flat Earth was the first thing that they censored on YouTube. When they were starting to censor and kick people off, they kicked off Flat Earth. Now, if it's that silly, that preposterous, and that dumb, why are you censoring content? Why would you stop the content from coming up? Like when you get blocked, that's because they don't want you to see something. And they blocked a lot of channels with a lot of legitimate stuff on there that was literally just people asking questions, going through, bringing up old knowledge and bringing up old things and showing just factual points from this is what they believed in history. This is what we believe now. This is how they say, oh, we on an ecliptic and the ecliptic moves and the position of the earth changed. But we got these buildings who was thousands and thousands of years old and the earth still come up in the same, and the sun still rise in the same place. So, all these different things that they questioned,
and that's true.
And they kicked them off.
Because Big Red, go search for a flat earth video and see right underneath they're gonna have a little warning to tell you what the flat earth is and that it is deceptive and all that stuff. I'm like, if it was all that, if it was like Santa Claus, why are you doing it?
Right. But you can look up pedophilia and literally the media is telling you pedophilia. They literally out here saying, well, there's new science on pedophilia. Well, your science can tell you about pedophilia, but you don't want to address the people talking about the earth. You just ban them and send them away. Nah, dog. There's something funny with that.
Oh, flat earthers off the top, off the rip, they're already X'd out. They excommunicate flat earthers. Like I'm like, why do they excommunicate? Even though I don't 100% agree with them.
Why they do it, Sister E?
What does it hurt?
You know why? Because when the fallen angels come as aliens, you're not gonna believe the lie that they come from another planet.
That's why. This lie is dependent on all these folks that remember in Independence Day, all them idiots that were stuck there standing under the UFO talking about welcome, take me home, and all that crap.
And they get killed.
They get killed. They were the first ones to eat laser. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they want to do. It's just like Minister, it's a part of the deception. They have to keep the deception going. So that's why it seemed, because I said the same thing, Sister E. I said the same thing because I fully believed in the whole heliocentric theory. I was 100% for it because I am a science guy. I'm not gonna say I'm a science guy. I believe in the workings of Yahuwah. I don't want to call it science because that's a religion. It's the workings of Yahuwah. When you look at the law of thermodynamics, when you look at quantum physics, all of that just shows Yahuwah's work. I mean, and Aerospike will agree with me when they had the science used to teach that particles didn't exist until you observed them. They used to teach that particles existed in this crazy state and that they only became manifest when an observer looks at them, which is literally nonsense and garbage. Now they're finally coming out and teaching it because quantum mechanics and the materials to study it are getting cheaper and dudes can do it out of their garage now. And so now they got to come back and say, well, actually, it's not that it's not observed. It's just that it's a high probability of your particle being here, and that a lot of times you got more of a probability looking at it between these two spaces. So now they got to come and fix a lot of their stuff because it's getting cheaper for people to come in and just build something in their garage and prove them wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would say, for me, like I said, when it comes to like the sciences, again, we look at science fiction. What's the term we always hear right now? Dark matter, dark energy, so forth. Yeah. Dark matter to me is basically saying we have no clue what's going on, but we need to keep our funding going. That's what dark matter actually means. We can't explain what's happening. So we're just going to make up a term that sounds good to make sure that money is constantly flowing for our research. That's what matter means.
And me and Aerospike laugh
so,
about that.
Like I say, if somebody who's an astronomy buff, It's in fact, they will call me blasphemous for saying that. It's like, how dare you say that? It's like it's a solution to Einstein's field theories. But I'm like, dude, it doesn't emit radiation. You can't see it. It can't do it. Then it can't be part of the scientific process because we can't observe it. You're
Thank you.
assuming.
How can you quantify something you can't even measure?
Thank you. Say you're ready by inference by how things move. You say, oh, this must be something dark there. Just like, but you can't see it or go. You don't know what it is, so just admit it. You don't know what it is.
But see, they do this in science all the time. Hypothesize and talk like it's fact, right?
Yep.
It's the same thing happening in DNA. They hypothesize and everybody running with it like it's fact. And I'm like, no, that's not what they're saying. But I don't fight them battles.
No, it's true. My wife actually just sent me a article today about Mr. P. Pfizer, and they basically are getting into. They got a company that they work with called Beam, and they're getting deeper into genetic research using the mRNA technology. So they're about to now they're probably going to end up combining it with CRISPR and get into mRNA, and they're getting into genetic manipulation, like further into genetic manipulation.
Yep.
Because their stocks are starting to slip because like 4 or 5 of their major drugs is hitting their shelf life for their patent. So they're like, oh, we got to come up with something new. So now they're about to get it. And of all the things to get into, they're getting into mRNA genetic manipulation. They literally have it. It's on the Yahoo website. They're getting into it hardcore. That's what they're doing.
Biotech.
I am very fascinated by CRISPR. I hadn't done any research on it in a while. I'm gonna start back because, I mean, ultimately, when you look at a lot of these movies, especially dealing with consciousness, it's literally one to take your DNA or who you are and plant it somewhere else so you can, or could not necessarily that, but never dying. I look at CRISPR like self-healing. Like in IT, y'all know what self-healing. I know everybody up here know what self-healing is. Your body, the actual your machine learning, where it's learning what makes what's good and what's bad, and before it becomes something that destroys you, it repairs it, and that's longevity. They're trying to kill death. Honestly.
Well, that was the original function of the CRISPR. They found it in a bacteria that it would basically do just what you're saying. It would go like a self-healing, and anytime anything would manipulate the gene, it would cut it off, and it was a clean cut, and that way it would just remove it out. Well, they've went and learned and figured it out that we can actually program this thing. We can tell it what we want it to do. So they literally, I think this was years ago when I got a book actually about epigenetics. They talk about that, how basically designer babies are here. They're ready to make designer babies. And if you wanted to have scales, they can make CRISPR and modify it so you can end up having scales.
China
so all these
already
people,
did it.
Yeah. China literally already did. They lifted the ban off of genetic manipulation because a dude in China made twins who were impervious to AIDS.
I think China does not. I think China has no regulation, so they can go and do experiments that we really, and they can be open about it. Like for instance, I really think they created that fake sun. Some people saying they're not. I think they did. I think China has. They're just a little bit more open to doing what they want to do. Where here, they have to hide it as much as they can.
Well, to be honest, they're already doing it here, and it's a mass experiment. But I ain't want to go there.
I was gonna say they fund the stuff in China because what's his name, Mr. Science Fauci, they doing all this stuff now and finding out, your money went to gain of function research into this bug that's going around into everybody. This bug was something that remember when you said this on YouTube back years ago, they would block you, but now everybody talking about it. Like when people say, you're a Trumper, you're anti-science, saying that it was born in a lab.
They finance Kazakhstan as well. I'm like, they all over the planet doing this stuff.
Yes, sir. That's what Kazakhstan did. Everybody over there, that's when you look at the news like Al Jazeera, the Russian news, and all the people in that area, they are telling you when they interview the people that they came out there to protest the gas prices, and then there's these people who came up who were foreigners. They all say the same thing. These regular people on the ground, they said these foreigners came over here and they started causing problems. That's America. That's what they do. That's their number one. That's their number one plan. They do that all over the place. They did it in Cuba. They did it over in Afghanistan. How do you think Osama bin Laden and all them got training in weapons?
Thank you. Exactly.
Here's the thing. There's no limits now. The gates are open. They can't close no more.
Nope.
That's the problem.
And they know that. They built this house of cards system because this is how we say it's planned. Because when you look at the founding fathers of this country, quote unquote, and you look at all the stuff that they have in there about all that stuff, the how they have all the deification of all of those leaders and stuff, like what Zadok had showed that one time where they had them up in the rotunda with all the Greek gods and all that crazy stuff like that. Like, these people did not plan for the America to be here forever and forever. It was here to be their weapon. America was the weapon of the financiers that they used to push their negotiations and to push what they want to do in the world. That's all it is. But now they've got to the point now where the technology means that they can rule it with the technocrats. So you don't need a nation, because a nation is too lowbrow. Now with the technology, they can control the world, and that's what they want. This world government,
noticed,
aka the reset.
Before there were barriers, right? And you had to go to the FDA, you had to do all this. All the barriers are removed. They could do whatever they want, right? And to me, that's sort of scary now, because there's nobody managing this thing, right? So I guess in the next few years, you're going to be seeing, Tyrannosaurus Rex, in the zoos and stuff, right?
Yeah, and that the other thing too, what they did with the FDA, the FDA got all kinds of lawsuits for stuff that they've allowed. The FDA let people have cobalt hip implants, and this doctor, again, supposed to be learned, well taught, and everything. He out here putting hip implants in people with cobalt hip implants. Then he needed one, so he put one in himself. That cobalt was actually corrosive, and it got in his bloodstream and started messing with his mind. So he lost it in a hotel room and went all like a crazy punk rocker and tore up the whole hotel room. Then when they finally got him in the hospital, they said, "Oh, you got cobalt poisoning." And he's like, "Oh, it's my hip implant." So he had to go back retrospectively and help those people who he put the implants in. And now he became a big person that was against the FDA and what they offer, because the plan with the FDA is so crooked. Like, if I put one of my patents up and I say, "Okay, Aerospike, you're the FDA. Here's my patent." He goes, "All right, cool." He takes it and takes it through the process. And he's like, "Okay, you good." So let's say 2 years from now, I have an iteration on that second patent. I don't have to go through the same process. They can just say, "Oh, well, we approved this before, so you can go ahead and get it now." So basically, they pushing stuff through that don't even really get fully investigated because of money and all this money stuff. So that's why when they were like, "Oh, the FDA is going to approve these things and it'll be great," I don't care what the FDA approve. FDA have approved drugs right now that you take them and it'll mess you up.
Mm-hmm. Facts. Absolute facts.
All this stuff is just, it's like the FDA is supposed to be so for us, yet they approve things that in other countries they don't even sell. They're not allowed to sell the candy that we get over here for like $2 and $1.50. In England, they not allowed to get it. And if they do buy it, England puts a tax on it to dissuade people from buying American food.
Yeah, it's a lot of I have friends that have said that the GMOs and all that's pumped into the food, other countries like I really yep. So I mean, y'all, I'm gonna have to change the whole title to this, but it was a good conversation. Y'all know how I roll.
We can't take it over.
Y'all know I'm good with a subject change, and that's one thing people know. She don't have no problem about it, so I let it flow. And I think where we flowed, this was a great conversation. Again, I don't want to put Aerospike out there, but I think the concept and Big Red and all of us that do the space conversation, I think people enjoyed it. And we got to learn how to just, I'm at the point, y'all, in this season in my life dealing with YouTube, I am not bothered about what those folks on the other side say.
That's right.
Amen.
Because they got a lot of, yeah, I'm like, if I want to talk about whatever I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about it. And I'll tell a person real quick, get your own channel. If you don't like what I'm talking about, leave.
Right, at the dope.
Just do me a favor. Don't tell me what they say, because it'd be like, Jacoba said X, Y, and Z. And I'll be like, I ain't say that.
See?
Jacoba and Big Red said stars is of the devil. Oh, God.
And I'd be like, why y'all lying on my boys for? Why y'all gotta lie like that?
And what I love is this is how we can show them how people have a conversation. Because our conversation literally reminded me of when I watched these lawyers talking about the Rittenhouse trial. Like, all of them raised their points and they disagreed gracefully. Like, this is, ain't nobody yell, ain't nobody get mad, ain't nobody call no names, ain't nobody do none of that. Everybody just said what they had to say, and at the end of the day, we all still good. Like, that's what I like about it.
Yeah. And I'm game for this conversation. We can schedule it. I would love, like I said, others in our community that's into this, because like I said, this is one of those subject points that we're kind of divided. I would say it's more that don't believe, but it's a couple of us that kind of says, okay, this is what I saw. I
Say,
kind of
Sister E, quick question for you.
what's up?
How long you know me so far?
Oh, I've been knowing you. I knew you before you knew me. So
So when did you first find out I was a flat earther? Not too long ago, right?
yeah, just here recently.
Yeah. See, I kept that to myself. Why? Because you couldn't have a good conversation back in the day. But I'm all with y'all. You know, I'm like, let's just keep it with us on family. Whatever they say, just don't let me know.
No, I'm not gonna let you know. I'm not gonna let you know. But I would like to see some of those pictures. Like, I mean, and if it, like I said,
Sure.
if Aerospike is up for it, if not, I'm good with it. We could just have a conversation. But I would love to see that
Okay.
because I like I said, I love a good planetarium. I haven't been one in a while because of what's going on with, Miss Vito. But
Uncle Vito.
yeah, yeah, because Miss Vito. But
Oh, my
I
crayon.
mean, yes. But I said next time I would go, when I'm able to go down there, I would go and look. But I mean, I enjoy this. Some people team flat Earth is Earth. Others believe it's a is an oval shape. Others believe that it's round. So I mean, I like I said, I've enjoyed space. I like talking about space. I don't know much about it, but the little bit that we've talked about, I mean, I've enjoyed both sides of the argument. And this is how you have dialogue, people.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, to me, this is fun, and this is how it always should have been.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. It's like this is why I agree with like Jacoba. Like for a while, I just didn't say nothing, and then I just got to the point where I said, "Screw it, I don't care." And that's why I put my put my image up because my image is actually they believe that the moon is like actually it's a plasma phenomenon, and they believe that sometime long time ago, probably one of these rotten angels, they actually did something that caused like an impose of the Earth to come up on the moon. Because when they flip it like a reverse, like you would a picture, and put color in on the places that we call pits in the mountains, you get what I have on my my icon right there. Like that's actually the small part. That's if you can see, there's a little circle in there. That's the known world that we have. And
So
if you
so
listen
let
to
me ask you
Admiral
a
Byrd,
question because I never heard this before, which is real interesting. So are you saying that the what they call the crevices are really like the empty spaces on the Earth? So they just
correct.
wow, that's interesting.
Correct. It's like how you have a X-ray, and that's pretty much what it was. Because being that it was a plasma phenomenon, it's liable. That's essentially what they use for X-rays and whatnot. So they're saying that some time ago somebody did this, and when you flip it and you fill it in like the way they filled it in, you literally get the Earth and you get everything in its most accurate places too. Because what you're seeing is in that circular area, that's the known world that we have right now. But Admiral Byrd talks about that there was an outer land because they asked him straight up because you know how they used to talk back in the early 1900s. White folks are like, "Oh, Admiral Byrd, you've discovered all the lands, and what do you have to say to all the young kids out there who still want to go exploring? Is there anything left on Earth for you to see?" And Byrd was like, "Well, yes, there is actually. There's above Antarctica. There's other lands that are out there." He's like, "There's more Earth that's out there," and he talks about that, and that's what you see on the outside of that this outer Earth. A lot of the old maps that they have too, even though some of them I think are ridiculous. There are some old maps that they have that talk about the same thing, like Hyperborea, the beyond the Borealis, and all these
Yeah.
different places.
And you know what, Red? You know, my brother and I would talk all the time, even before I became a flat earther, about how there's probably a hidden continent. You know, we say where the angels at. We say the angels and the fallen, I mean, the fallen angels and the Nephilim are probably still here, but on a continent that's not on the maps. And I saw recently a few times that flat Earth map, some of the older flat Earth maps show some continents on the outskirts of the
Yep.
map that we have today, which is real interesting.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
don't get me started talking about Antarctica. That
Yeah.
Oh
right
yeah.
there. That
And-
right
and-
there. Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I was gonna say Antarctica is a perfect thing because literally, these nations don't agree on nothing. But why is it Antarctica is the only thing that all these nations agree not to go?
Man.
Why does everybody agree not to go there? And now that it's melting, you got Russia, China, and America running out there like nobody's business. What's out there? They
Man,
already got pictures of pyramids out there, and then there's another picture. You can see it on Google Earth. It looks like a giant humanoid laying down in the ice.
Oh, now we're talking about Atlantis. Man, I love conversations like this. I'm sorry. Somebody talking about Atlantis. Man,
Yep.
I love conversations like this. But you know what? I think Antarctica is because I did a show about a year ago. That ice, really, I really believe that if they keep messing over there and that ice is old, it's layers to it, they're gonna pull a virus up that
Yep.
is gonna wipe humanity out if they keep going.
It's exactly what I was thinking when I saw. I'm like, they keep drilling into the ice and say, "Oh, we discovered these microbes." So I'm like, there's a reason why they're down there. Don't bring them up because they did something very foolish like a few years ago when they resurrected the Spanish flu of 1918. Why would you want to resurrect something that killed millions of people? They
I hate
did
to
it.
let you know they already got the virus out of the ice in
Oh yeah.
Antarctica.
They probably
They got on my
got
crayon out there.
mo bugs up in there.
Yeah, for real.
Man,
Nah, I believe that because when you read about Enoch and you see, it's just like what Minister Jacoba said, man. I couldn't understand it for the longest, but when I dropped that, it started making sense. And when I started thinking about it in terms of outer lands, then it all made more sense because he talks about going over places in the Antarctic. But see, back then it wasn't frozen. It wasn't done over like it is right now. Like there was a lot of places that you could go to before that was really, open land. But I believe it was frozen off because y'all separated the lands out. He wanted humans to be in one place and the Nephilim to be in another. And when they kept coming back, even after he flooded the land, he's like, all right, I'm gonna have to kick these fools out for real, and have my people come through and kill the rest of them.
oh no, we're not even gonna talk about what I heard recently. They talk about the Nephilim. They were just extremely tall people. I sit there and I said,
that's so stupid.
That crew over there. I mean,
Urban apology, right?
yeah, they don't believe in it. Oh my gosh! When I heard that, I just said, I'm not gonna even respond. The Nephilim are the Nephilim.
There's always truth in their lies because even when you research for history, the Bible tells a history, and what's even crazy is the history of other nations will agree with the Bible. And when you look at the history, it was this dude, Berosus. He wrote about the history of the world and whatnot, and he talked about Noah. And he knew who Noah was. And this is how you know it lines up with the Bible. He called him Gallus, and he said that Noah taught them about the grapevine and how you could take the grapes and make wine, and the wine would cause the most wondrous results. And they said that he was a dude that was known for the wine, and he was, very generous with it as he gave it out to people. Now, that goes along with what we know in the Bible, because Noah was drunk when Ham walked up in there and was like, oh, look at this dude, and stole the coat that he got from Adam that was passed down, which was the garments that he had. That was one of the real reasons why he cursed the dude, because not just because he saw him naked, but because he stole from him. And he talked about Noah being 12 feet tall. And then there was a recent discovery where they said they found the tomb of Noah, and the bones, again, was supersized bones. So a lot of the humans back then during that time were larger. It was speculated by a lot of people that the oxygen before the flood was denser in the earth. So humans grew taller and they lived longer, which is why everybody was living for 900, 800, 700, and 500 years. And you gradually see the years diminish after the flood because the oxygen level was lowered and people stopped being as tall and they stopped living as long. So they were sort of right in saying that people were tall, but it's clear that the Nephilim were half angels, half demons. Like, that's that Christian nonsense where they always try to like turn the literal stuff of the Bible into spiritual nonsense.
Man, this is good conversation to the point my camera just messed up. Are you serious? But I mean, these are good conversations to have. Everybody ain't here for it. Some people can't take it, but I always ask that question: why did people live 200 and 300 years? Why did why was who was it? They said that the grapes were huge, and the Israelites said yes.
They had to carry two of them to carry one. I don't think people understand that bushel of grapes is what we usually pick up at our local store in one hand with the grapes on it. They had to have two people carry one. It was so big they had to carry it with a stick in between them.
Man.
Let's not talk about the giant trees, Big Red.
Oh, I was trying not to go there.
Did somebody have a big bed or something?
The King Og of Bashan.
King Og. Og of Bashan, yep.
Yeah.
What was that, like, 9 feet long? It was like 9 feet long, 11 feet long, or something like that? He was a big boy.
Ridiculous. Like look at all these ancient, cathedrals, quote unquote, that they have. Look at the size of these doors. If these was built by regular humans, with hammers and chisel, why are the doors so big? Why all the spaces on the inside so huge? I can understand making things grand and whatnot, but why your front door is so huge? It's almost like it wasn't made for a regular size human. It was made for somebody of a bigger size and stature.
Man, these folks, if something came, they'll still deny it. Some of these folks, they'll be like, that's still not real. You just be like, you know what?
Well, they're probably coming out with something real soon because all they're doing lately, I don't know if y'all follow, is throwing out aliens, UFOs.
Yes.
Oh yeah, big time.
Oh yes, they have been doing that a lot.
Go ahead, sis. No, I just said they saw one in Memphis, but that was kind of scary.
Oh yeah. They didn't stop because they're like, oh no, we in Memphis. Get out of here.
Yeah, so let them fly through Chicago real quick. So they can come out with bullet holes. They fly through the south side. But yeah, they've been talking a lot about that, and I find it interesting because before I was a believer, I was a kid. I was all up into UFO phenomena. I read the books, I read the cases. Project Blue Book, stuff from Eric Von Daniken, Kenneth Arnold site in 1947, all that stuff. It was deep, and it's like, and back then it's like UFOs, haha, you nutcase. And all of a sudden, just look at them more closely now. I'm like, what's changed? Why do you want to see these things all of a sudden? What's really going on here?
Yeah.
It's facts.
Something going on. Something is going on. Like I said, when I saw that, now I will say this much: Memphis people ain't finna just be like, yeah. When I saw that, I was like, "Run, UFO, run!" Or you won't have your spaceship no more.
Jacking for the ship.
Man.
I mean, this is why I say I know it's something different, crazy going on, and that's why they want to have this deception, because they got Obama talking about UFOs, man. That just still blow my mind. I'm like, of all the people they could have got, they know what they're doing because they know Obama is well loved and well liked, and he was the one that everybody all over the world liked. So they're like, yeah, go out there and use that charm that you got and tell everybody about UFOs. And they talking hard. I mean, you got that committee that was out there studying UFOs and still coming out with stuff and still talking about stuff. You got these dudes, the fighter pilots and everything admitting to seeing it, all this crazy stuff that they coming out and talking about. But they still don't want to talk about them soldiers that found that giant in the cave over there in Iraq.
Man, yes.
Wait a minute, what now? I missed that part. What say that again, run that back.
There's them soldiers that found that giant in that cave over in Iraq. I saw that.
Didn't hear about that.
Yeah, but that's the Steve Quayle thing. I mean, ain't nobody really sure about that one.
That's true.
Okay, I'm hitting y'all up later. I want to know more about that.
That's gonna be interesting. But
yeah, it was a little story they had of it's conveniently one that matches the description of these bones they be finding too. It was a giant red-headed figure that they ran across, and he said he came out there and killed one of the guys, and they was able to shoot him down and take him out with the rest. And they found him in a cave in Iraq.
Yeah, it's so much we can talk about. People talking about Mandela effect. Oh,
yeah,
that Mandela effect, man.
It can go through so many.
That Mandela effect ain't no joke.
You know what the Mandela effect really is? It's years of brainwashing, and then you found out that what you was brainwashed with was a lie. And so you saying that's the Mandela effect, because I know that's what I knew. No, that's what you were programmed to think.
That sounds like Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah. So was it ever Bernstein Bears for y'all or Bernstein?
Bernstein.
I'm from Memphis. It was Bernstein.
Bernstein.
I always thought it was Bernstein Bears too, but they're like it's Bernstein, T-A-I-N. And I'm like, I thought it was T-E-I-N, not T-A-I-N.
Yeah. I thought we heard it as Bernstein Bears. That's why I remember it.
Okay, so I probably just remember it wrong then. That's why I always was wondering whether I just remembered it wrong or whether it was the Mandela effect. But I agree, it's just like what Jacoba said. It's just we was thinking it was one way, but then we come to find out the truth changed from what we thought it was. Because I sure thought it was Bernstein, S-T-E-I-N, not S-T-A-I-N.
Yeah, the
They were
lion that
Ashkenazi
lay down
bakers.
with the lamb, and it was really the wolf, right?
I like what Garth said. The Bears were Ashkenazi. Exactly.
Told you they were Ashkenazim.
Exactly. It don't matter how you change it. They still a son of Japheth.
From Skokie, Illinois, man. I'm telling you.
I'm not
Them
fooling with
Esau
y'all
Bears.
today.
That's what it is.
I'm not fooling with y'all today.
Yep.
I'm not fooling with y'all today. Y'all being extra today.
It was David, Sarah.
They gonna go on that other channel talking about Sister E said the Bernstein Bears is E.
And you know, y'all glad I ain't taking links no more because I said I'm taking a break. But I done heard a lot of craziness off and on. I'm just like, I'm not going up there. I'm not going up there. I'm not going up there because I need a break because they all get on my nerves. I can't be there no more. But yeah, they're gonna find something. They're gonna play parts of this. Brian might have a show here soon talking about flat earthers.
I'm not going nowhere near his. I'm not going near. My mama told me about not going near that house. I ain't going near that place.
Yeah, it's a little too lively. Even sis got to take a break. I'm like, y'all gonna make me. I kept coming out of character. That's why I was like, yeah, I gotta take a break because I was ready to call some folks. After Jay, the producer, said that Harriet Tubman had sinned.
Oh man,
no, I want to hear that. I'm like, I want to talk about dude. Nope.
And see, I went over there one time, and when I saw how he was throwing you in the back channel when you was making good points, I just left because I'm like, you know what, I can't with these people because, like you said, I'm gonna get out of character, get out of pocket, and somebody gonna catch these verbal hands.
Right.
So,
rule of thumb is you put me in back chat, I'm gonna be just as crazy when you bring me back on the stage. But I don't put me in back chat. Guess what's gonna happen when I get back up there? I'm gonna still be the same. Because that was that day I kept calling people coons.
And rightfully so. Like, what person in their right mind is going to say that? That just goes to show just the level of nonsense that Christianity got folks at. That you would say that a person fighting for their freedom is in sin. But you're going to sit here at the same time and sit in the country and salute a flag, the people that left their country and did the same exact thing. They came over here because of what? Persecution. Man. So instead of staying there, they left their slave master and came over here, killed other folks, and took their land. So that's okay.
Man, Coon was falling out of my mouth so much to the point I didn't even care no more. Every time he would take me in the back chat, bring me back up, I'm like, and going back to my original point, that don't cool me off. That makes it even worse. I'm gonna be just as ignorant when I get up there. So I'm like, he ain't learned yet. But yeah, I gotta take a break because
they don't know, Sister E. They don't know.
They really don't. My brother know. He know I don't care. The ninja word got to the point that it was almost my second word. I was calling folks ninjas all the time. I said, let me get a break because
I still do. That's why I said I ain't gonna. I'm not gonna go up there because I would, especially after seeing some nonsense like that. Oh,
no, I'm taking a break though. I gotta focus on my channel. Most High had to kind of whoop a sister to say, you have a channel of your own. You need to be focused. So no worries, y'all. I'm gonna keep focusing on my channel. Like I got to, I promise you, I was totally carnal and totally full of my flesh in some cases. Like I was like really like Jay the producer, that dude right there. I ain't got to ever.
Yeah.
We understand.
We understand. I felt so bad I didn't even want to be black.
You want to change your name to Brad, perhaps?
Brad Lee, that's how bad it was. Brad Lee.
I'm Bradley. How are you? Silly Negroes.
In light of Jada producer's current actions, guys, I got traded in the draft. So
man, when he said that he said slaves were needed to stay with their slave masters in so many words. I said, Negro, that is kidnapping. What are you talking about? I was done after that. I couldn't. So I said, let me take a break because I'm gonna be all in my flesh and I'm gonna say something.
It was so bad, Sister E. I was like, "Jolly good, well, my friend. How you doing today?" I just had to. I couldn't. I said, he messing it up for every black male that exists.
Oh
He
my
said,
goodness.
very good. Well, I'm on the way.
That's it.
Adios.
That's it right there. I said this ninja right here would snitch on every single one of us.
Konnichiwa, Minya-san. Orewa, Big Red.
Kaiju.
I can't take him. I can't take him, and I'm not gonna be on the same panel. I can't, because he gonna say something that's gonna trigger me. And I said, let me take a break, because he's gonna constantly come up here and I'm gonna constantly get triggered, and I'm gonna forever be calling him.
I was so proud of you, though. You held yourself well. I couldn't have. I'm like, I knew you was gonna go at him, but you handled it. I'm like, I was proud of you. You did good, Sister. I forgot to tell you that.
Thank you. I was ready to cuss though, but
I was just gonna say that the fact that you didn't cuss them out was so good, because I'm like, man, Sister E finna drop an F-bomb on these fools, because this right here, I ain't gonna lie, it's almost worthy of one. I know it is worthy of one. Because that right there,
I did.
You know it was, but I can't say nothing.
But you know what? I did cuss for a second. Nobody caught that. I said, what the heck? Before I know it, I said, oh, I should have said that. But I done said it now. Let's keep going with it. So thank you, though. I got it.
I don't count hell as a cuss word, because that's a place. And what in hell would possess somebody to say that? Like, bro, that thought process had to come from hell. Like, there's nowhere near heaven that thought process would have come from. It's like, that don't even make sense.
I went from talking to yelling. That's when I knew. I said, it's time for me to sit down for a minute, because I was yelling. I would not let him talk, because I'm like, the foolishness is falling out of your foolish mouth. I was like, I can't. And he gonna say a woman needs to be silent. That's when I lost it. That's what I said. If you lost your
No. Mm-mm.
That's they go to that's they go to. Anytime a sister come at them with the raw truth, then they want to come to that nonsense. Like,
right.
So you'll sit down at school and you'll learn from a female teacher. You'll go to your job and you'll submit to a female supervisor. But then you want to say that y'all gonna say that a woman, man, if you don't get out of here and not know that Ruth was doggone in Judges, and they came to this woman, to the judges were like magistrates. They handle issues. Exactly. She was out there mediating problems for the people, and then they even had her lead them in the battle. Come on, dog. They literally said, no, we want you to lead us, because we know you hear from Yahuwah, so you tell us how to do it and we'll do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man.
And go tell him to come here. I need to talk to him. She was giving orders.
Come on, man. She was letting them know. She was letting them know. They said, hey, you that's all right. You don't got to go to the front lines. Tell me what to do and I got you. Like, come on, bro. Like, let's just be for real about it.
She was pulling straight right.
If you hear from Yahuwah, I don't care if you a female or a male. The spirit does not discriminate. That's retarded. That's ridiculous. It's silliness to think that.
Let them tell it. Let him tell it. Some of us don't need to go to war. Just sit and take it. What? By that time I was done. I can't. So I said, you got to take a break. Because if I go up there and he up there, I'm still triggered. Like, I don't like his spirit at all. Like, he has I don't know what IUIC did, but whatever they did when
that's who he was with?
He was with them, and whatever they didn't do, the Christian community he a part of now finished it off.
He went over there to that slave church that still had a slave Bible and taught from that. That's what happened.
Slaves obey your master. I said, you don't even understand that scripture, so be quiet.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
You don't even understand it. That was not what it was.
They don't even get half the New Testament.
Man, please. And if you steal a man, death, period. And that's what I kept saying. I said, kidnapping is a death sentence. And that was kidnapping. And he was like, well, you a slave. Well, how about this? Somebody take your daughter, take her to another country and make her a slave. Are you going to go over there and get her? Man, please. Folks,
he going to break the law of the land if he go there.
Mm-hmm.
So he just going to let us stay there. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, people say the craziest, stupidest stuff and then try to find logic behind it. Like, I can't. So I took a little break. I had to. I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I was like, oh, no, let me take a break, because I felt like I was being set up for a while. Like, so Sister E, would you do any vengeance towards someone? Yes, if you touch my daughter, I got you.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean,
we're gonna say that Abraham was in sin when he took 300 of his own dudes and ran up in another kingdom to get his nephew.
Yeah.
Just saying.
No, I think they were saying some nonsense like, well, the law of the land was that we to be slaves, so we had they tried to use Romans, I think, to justify, obeying the law of the land. It's like the law of the land goes against the law of Yah. What are you
Come on.
talking about?
He is beyond the sunken place. He's even the people in the sunken place, like, wow, you really said that? Like, no, I don't even know what place that is.
He should have put the cotton in his ears, Sister E.
Man.
Yeah, he must have. Yeah, I can say that.
Oh.
I swear, after you showed me that clip, I heard Calvin. You came up there and he was like, "Dang you, Django!"
Hey, Sister E, do this. No.
Man, that's so sad to see that movie until like a year after it came out. I'm like, oh, that's what that meant.
I'm not.
He came up there like, "Say goodbye to Miss Millie."
Reg, you missed your appointment as a stand-up comedian, man.
Every time he says the evil one, I think about, have you ever seen the movie with Eddie Murphy and he be talking about evil when he was the vampire?
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah, no, Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh, Vampire in Brooklyn. Okay.
And he kept saying evil. So every time Jay the producer say evil one, I think about the guy from Vampire in Brooklyn, because I be laughing when he say the evil one. I just be like, I'm like, poor thing, his sons can't play football. They probably can't watch TV.
That's insane. That's just insane.
But we ain't gonna talk about him no more. But I had to, y'all. I felt my flesh just saying, rise up and tell all of them they. And that day, I promise you, it took everything in my power not to go off, because you sitting there, you making it seem like I'm out here trying to hurt folks. Most definitely, if you try to do something to my daughter, So
now you know what gets me, and maybe I'm just a weird one, right? But I don't see me sitting under somebody who's an open theist, who's an atheist, who's somebody who's Uncle Ruckus. I'm like, how do you even listen to these people and think they're gonna teach you anything?
Yep. Well, I do need to go to bed, y'all. Sheila did say that, and I do.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
But I have enjoyed this conversation. We get ready. We're gonna keep having this. I want you to aerospace. If you want to, we can have a side conversation.
Sure.
That's fine.
Sure.
But those pictures would be very interesting, and for us to just have a good conversation about it.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, so I probably can't do it tonight because heck, I go back to work tomorrow.
Oh,
Yay.
no, not tonight. I'm talking about like next week we do, talk about space and flat earth and all that. People would enjoy that combo. And Big Red get up here and he gonna say everything is not real. No, I'm just
I mean,
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
Coming from America, that's not too far off. I mean, everything fake. I mean, look, just go through Instagram to see how real it is. Like they actually just did a thing talking about these women. I saw it on Abba and Preach, which is crazy. I don't know how they got these DMs from this woman, but she was an Instagram model, and these Saudi guys were sending her sending her stuff, trying to talk to her, and basically they asked her to do some very foul stuff that involved the camel. And as long as she got $50,000 and a car, she was down.
Ew.
So a lot of these people that I showed it to my son, because a lot of these different IG women that they show that's traveling around and you see them in all their cars and how they like living the life. No, they living that life as a paid prostitute that do all kinds of unmannerable, unspeakable things.
It's just like with the whole thing of your page or something. They got this new thing out that is nothing but borderline porn and prostitution.
OnlyFans.
I knew it was something crazy like.
Oh, it's straight up prostitution. Straight up. You put all the girl. Remember that girl from Dr. Phil, Catch Me Outside? That little young chick or whatever.
Yeah.
As soon as she turned 18, she announced that she had an OnlyFans. She made $1 million in one day.
Wow.
That's
that many
crazy.
people trying to watch this girl that just turned 18 years old and see her. And she didn't even drop nothing. Like they even said it like in the little Twitter articles and stuff. It wasn't even nothing that she dropped that was like fully nude. But dudes were so disgusted and thirsty that they went out there chasing after this. So, you know, when I say that it's fake, it's not that I'm just sitting here saying everything is fake. It's that that's just what it is, man. They tell you the music industry is, just work hard and do good. Well, I know dudes that's not even saved and talented, and they don't get their shot at nothing. They work hard because they don't bow to the program. They want to do their own thing and not play by the rules of these people, and they get kicked out.
Yep. This is an interesting time, family. So, well, I'm going to bed.
Yep.
I have enjoyed this conversation.
All right.
Everybody, thank you all for supporting me. All of my super chats, thank you so much. I didn't get a chance to say thank you because the conversation was so deep. So, but I do want to say thank you, everyone who gave super chats. I'm getting ready to go to bed. Y'all got any last words before we close out?
Just thanks for allowing us on to talk amongst the family.
All right.
Yeah, and welcome back, Sister E. This was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. I enjoyed this. So
don't eat the processed meat, Soylent Green.
You know what? I'm getting ready to go to bed on that note. Good night. Y'all are something else, y'all. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.